Douluo, my martial spirit is a system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101 God 039 S Spring. Is this the end of the battle between the two? Now Fei not only feels that his mind is a little bit confused, but even the specific thoughts of the two people in front of him can be said to be completely at a loss. What about the sea of flames just now? What about the gorgeous and almost unrivaled 10-year soul ring just now? I thought that these two titled Douluo would fight to the point of using a 10-year soul ring together, but I never expected that the battle would be ended by undead Douluo's words. I have to say, undead Douluo, it is indeed high. Adhering to the concept of harmony and wealth, some unnecessary troubles can be solved very well. I can't imagine that, if they really use the soul skills of the last 10-year soul ring, then this battle will lead to what kind of situation? I'm afraid that the entire square will be blown away, and even if they're hid near these statues, they might not be able to dodge such a range of soul power. Fei boys, come here. Immortal Douluo didn't rush to respond to evil god Douluo's words, but turned his head to greet Fei and the others to come here now. Fei and the others nodded. Judging by the situation, it seems that the evil god Douluo and the immortal Douluo won't fight anymore, but it's better to be careful and always plan for them to fight again. It's time to run as fast as you can, otherwise, if the battle of title Douluo is affected, it will definitely be a devastating blow to these soul masters and great soul masters. The evil god Douluo's eyes slowly moved to Fei and Lanshan, and those slightly immature pupils seemed to be flooded with different emotions. Old guy from the evil god, the main purpose of this old man and his group of students here is to complete one other less important task. You also know that I don't like to beat around the bush, so I'll just say it. The main purpose is you should not be so stingy if you take a bath in the spring of evil gods and let them improve their cultivation together, right? What? Do you want the temple to enter the eyes of the god spring to improve their cultivation? Are you stupid? Or do you think they can survive the baptism of God with their 10-year-old physical fitness? Of course, Diane, the physical condition of this little brother and this girl should be fine. The evil god Douluo seemed to have annihilated his hostility just now, and his voice gradually calmed down. It's not that the old man is stingy, it's just that the evil god spring is not that simple. The old man only opened it once 100 years ago, to break through the bottleneck period, and then closed it. The souls gathered around the Jia mountain for hundreds of years. The soul power bestowed by the god of strength is worth even a soul emperor level body entering it. I'm afraid that it will be torn apart by the powerful soul power, not to mention these little dolls with soul power of 10 or 20 levels. The evil god Douluo shook his head while talking. However, if they can really hold on, I dare say that they can definitely raise their soul power to level, or even higher. Don't say that I drag you, old man immortal. You shouldn't have forgotten how we trained strikers before, right? Are you talking about undead? Indeed, the pain-free feeling of being drawn from the realm of the undead is also the best way to improve the soul power of your subordinates. But old man, you evil god spring is here. Is it really possible to gather so much soul power in a few hundred years? Remember that the evil god spring was born together with you, and what you accumulated over the past 95 years was nothing more than helping the 10 commandments break through the bottleneck of level. Old man, these students are all in the TH level. Can they really break through to the TH level? Immortal Douluo was very puzzled. I hope you don't lie, and you should also want to know why this old man is here. And the evil god Douluo was taken aback, and suddenly said to Fei warmly, what is the martial spirit you awakened this time? The heart of destruction? The hand of destruction? The body of destruction? Fei suddenly thought of Tang Heo's words. He is not allowed to tell anyone what his second martial soul is. If he did, he might kill himself. It's the crown of destruction. Suddenly, Lanshan beside Fei spoke slowly to the evil god Douluo. You can open your evil god spring for us to practice, and I will adjust the soul power, and my martial soul has also awakened. Gone. The crown of destruction? The crown. Isn't that? The evil god Douluo's eyes flashed with excitement. And your sacred tree of life? Lanshan just nodded, and didn't continue to say anything. Fei didn't care that Yi Lanshan told what his second martial spirit was. Instead, he had such a mess of memories in his mind and wanted to ask such a question by himself. Both of you, I wonder if I can ask a question. Fei chose to raise his head to ask, after hesitating again and again, because the memory flooding in his mind really made him a little uncertain, but the impulse finally took over, got the upper hand. Immortal Douluo and Evil God Douluo looked at Fei together, waiting quietly for his question. They knew that, as long as it wasn't too much, they would definitely answer. If it was something they couldn't explain, the two of them, this one will definitely abandon the previous suspicions and get over it together. After all, this matter is of great importance, and the palace master can no longer suffer like that. Where are you hiding my power? Fei said these words abruptly. Yi Lanshan's body trembled slightly. Immortal Douluo and Evil God Douluo looked at each other, wondering how to answer. This question does not exist in the range that they cannot answer, nor does it exist in the range that they know. Because they really don't know. Lanshan, do you know? Fei turned his face to stare at Yi Lanshan. Forget it, you definitely don't know. Then can you two give me a definite answer? My other memory seems to be impatient. I don't know. Maybe only Gluttony knows about this. Maybe it's eaten by her. The evil god Douluo smiled slightly, but she definitely didn't dare. After all, she doesn't lack such power. Gluttony? Fei nodded. Then where is she now? You two should know, right? Immortal Douluo said. Unfortunately, we haven't seen each other since that time. Even this is only the second meeting between the old man and the evil god. If you dare to mention that matter in front of me, I don't recommend imprisoning you forever. Even if you don't die, you will never be able to see the sun or the golden soul coin. The evil god Douluo breath suddenly it turned into that horrible bloody level, which made Fei and others startled again. Well, I just don't want to talk about it. Anyway, Fei didn't ask us, not to mention what happened to us hundreds of years ago. Maybe Zaya or Al still. Shut up, you have no right to mention my sister's name. Okay, I have no right to mention it. Yeah, I'm just a piece of trash who has no right to mention it. End of this chapter. Chapter 102 open. If it's what Lanshan said, then senior evil god please open the divine spring for us to improve our overall cultivation. Fei bowed slightly, and this bow instantly made the evil god Douluo stunned. Don't, Diane, little friend, you can't stand paying homage to the old man. It's just to open the divine spring. After all, it was refined for the purpose of cultivating soul masters. At this moment, the evil god Douluo's eyes were on Ziyu, Hu Lina, Yan, Zhu Jiangxing, and Huo Rao. He took a closer look. Are they all dolls from the spirit hall? Undead Douluo explained. It should be said that they are the students of Wuhandian Academy. You don't have to link them with Wuhandian, and they are also my students. At least for this year, I will teach you how to use the spirit of the soul. The knowledge acquired by the teacher. HMPH. So what if it's true or not? If it wasn't for God's punishment, the old man would have gone to meet that Bibidang long ago. Killing her along the way would be a good way to remember Zaya or Rao. If you still have a little conscience, you can get along with me. Take action together. What do you mean by greed? Evil god Douluo then smiled again. Just kidding. Even though I really want to do something with God's punishment, it's not easy to do. Immortal Douluo said. The angel Wuhan inherited from the Wuhan palace is indeed not bad. In the past 100 years, I heard that there is also a 99 level peerless Douluo in the Wuhan palace. Relying on your domain, you can simply treat him as a plaything in your palm. But now that Bibidang of the Spirit Hall seems to have inherited that thing. Evil god Douluo, aren't you too? You immortal Douluo has cultivated to level 10 in 98 years. TSK. It's just the inheritance of the gods. What is that? After witnessing the existence of the real divine punishment, it's not so hot anymore. It's already immortal anyway. Look at me. It's pretty good to build a great hall here and live a good life. But I'm sorry for the hall master and the master undead Douluo. Oh, obviously it can be done. Undead Douluo, by the way, what are you going to do? Just stay here? Anyway, the old man plans to follow the Hal Master and the Lord, and you see that the one who awakened the Hal Master this time is to destroy the crown. A chance. Maybe this time we can really shoot down God's punishment. Evil god Douluo. Phew, the old man is about to leave too. Indeed, what you said is correct. Isn't this our biggest dream in 10 years to defeat God's punishment? We are old, and this is the only dream we can grasp. But I don't plan to follow the palace master. Let's look for them. After we find them, we will reunite and unify the entire continent for the time being, and then discuss it slowly. Of course, the necessary condition is to understand the current situation in the mainland. It seems that has the Hall of Seven Emotions been separated from the mainland? Undead Douluo, well, the 10-year sea and land changes have separated from the Douluo continent as a whole. The ocean on the other side has become a barrier to stop us, but sooner or later we have to go back. By the way, how did your body become like this? What does it look like? Could it be that it is troublesome to fly when you feel fat? Evil god Douluo, it's all about restraining my own soul power. If I don't restrain my own soul power, I'm afraid that almost half of the continent will become boring and lazy, right? Then God's punishment can't come to me directly? How can it be you? Even soul masters love money. Love of money is a habit. No matter how powerful it is, it will not be listed as a disaster. Undead Douluo, oh, sometimes too many gold soul coins is a sin. The three of you should always be in front of that bibidang, right? If my calculations are not wrong, don't lie to this old man. Although this old man doesn't have the ability to judge like the 10 commandments, I'm more lazy than them. You obviously didn't know what was wrong. They didn't seem to hear any words just now, or they only saw Undead Douluo and Evil God Douluo talking, but they could only see their lips moving, as if they were being moved. Is the sound blocked? I don't know what the two of them were talking about just now. But facing the title Douluo's questioning, he didn't dare to hide anything, and he had the feeling that, if he deceived the evil god Douluo, something immeasurable would happen, and it was a terrible thing. Well, that's right. His Majesty the Pope is the teacher of the three of us. We have been adopted by the Wuhan Palace since we were young. This time we entered the Wuhan Palace Academy for the purpose of learning, and also a test for us. Ziyu said to evil god Douluo explained. Well, I'm glad you didn't deceive the old man. There is no problem that the old man can help you improve your cultivation, but you can't tell your teacher how to quickly improve your cultivation to such an advanced level. Otherwise, the evil spirits gathered in your body will the power of the divine spring will explode your bodies. You can regard this as a special curse. I don't want people to discover my secluded holy place, and you probably wouldn't risk your life for loyalty, right? No. Think about it like this, when you have such thoughts, your bodies will explode with a bang. This is a curse from God, a curse from greed. So think about how to lie. Ziyu, Hu Lina, Yan, Zhu Jiangxing, Huo Ro, the five of them were shocked, because they didn't feel that this was a trick used by the evil god Douluo to scare the children, because they really felt a wave of death just now. The breath lingers in my heart. But don't be afraid, the power of the evil god spring will really increase your level, and there will be no side effects. I just want to tell you that the baptism will be very painful. The overall age of you is under 10 years old, right? So it is not easy for your body to absorb such power. The evil god spring is terrifying, so terrifying that a title Douluo at level 95 can directly become a super Douluo at level. So don't be greedy. If you can't bear it, just shout out loudly. I will naturally save you. After all, you are also immortal students of the old stuff. You can tell that the immortal old stuff has really worked hard on you. You don't have to worry about what the old man will do to you. Although the old man and undead had a big enmity, it happened hundreds of years ago. We have known each other for more than years, and we have been together for more than years. The deep hatred will not be transferred to you. Why does this sound strange to me? Fei suppressed a smile. After all, these words sounded extremely strange, and Yi Lanshan, who was at the side, understood Fei's thoughts in an instant. She didn't smile, but her complexion felt weird. But Ziyu and the others, who didn't know the ambiguity, were feeling emotional. The relationship is good, a friendship of more than years. It's a pity that it can't be sublimated. End of this chapter. Chapter 103 Direct Breakthrough. Originally standing outside, maybe I just felt that the contiguous palace was very majestic, but when Fei and the others followed the evil god Douluo into the main palace, They really fell into absolute shock. A lot of novelties. The self-flowing spring water seems to be circulating in a strange way, and there are numbers on the swaying iron blocks that make a faint creaking sound at the same time. The originally empty palace was replaced by seats. Flooded, but no matter how it looks novel, what is the use of putting so many seats in it? By the way, is there a guy named Tang San among your believers? He was originally the master of the branch hall of the Wuhan temple in Jia City. He led nearly 50 soul masters to join you, right? If you say I don't know, or if he's not your believer, the old man wouldn't believe it. This time the old man's secondary task of leading this group of dolls out is to find this guy named Tang San. Immortal Douluo doesn't seem to put this task at the top of the list, but it's true. After all, what a title Douluo level powerhouse like him has his own ideas for a long time ago. How could it be possible to restrain him? Is there? I don't care much about these things, and it's not my believer. I just took in the people who wandered in Jia Mountain. After all, to some extent, I made the whole Jia Mountain so desolate. You should feel it too, right? There are a lot of soul beasts in my place that live outside, and they are also considered my collection, and they are basically thousands of years of soul beasts, but there are also many 100-year-old soul beasts, and they don't want to leave this upbringing. Their place, I have no choice but to give them a place to continue to practice. They don't have to fight each other, because they have supplies from the evil god spring, and the old age is pretty good, at least I think so. Raising soul beasts. Fei was taken aback. Shouldn't soul beasts have their own arrogance? How could they live together in a very peaceful and non-fighting manner? Immortal Douluo looked at Fei. That's not right. Those soul beasts that like to fight are just uncivilized 1000-year soul beasts. Once they are promoted to 10,000-year soul beasts, they more or less have their own souls. Be wise. It's no different from a little doll. You only need to be educated slowly. In fact, it's no different from raising a child. They will also act like a baby and please you. I'm waiting to show you a soul beast that I raised. Since childhood you will know. The soul beast raised by teacher undead since childhood. Hulina was obviously stunned. What age is a soul beast? Is it scary? Or is it cute? No, the soul beast raised by a soul master like teacher undead must be the same. He loves money very much. Isn't he a gold swallowing beast? The age limit? I don't remember the old man. Anyway, it's right that it's big and big. I used to catch and kill stewed soup. Unfortunately, it met a good person. She wouldn't let the old man kill it, so the old man didn't kill it. I've been raising it slowly since then. Immortal Douluo shook his head. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. Now I'm here to tell you a few precautions. First of all, you also really want to know why this old man would is this for you? Why do you let you increase your soul power so quickly? Is it because I, an old man, have some strange ideas? Of course the answer is no. Leaving aside the fact that the old man is old and doesn't have the heart to do anything planned, and the old man can't do any kind of conspiracies and tricks. In layman's terms, the old man just wants you guys. It's all about becoming stronger quickly, simply becoming stronger, and at the same time wanting Lanshan to become stronger quickly, that's all. That said, you obviously didn't know what to say. Mr. Immortal, Your Majesty the evil god, does this world really have such a magical thing? Something that can allow soul masters to quickly improve their cultivation level? Besides, except for Fei and Lanshan, most of us, it is a soul power below level. So what kind of powerful soul power is needed to maintain the barrier for us to directly break through the TH level of soul power? And relying on our body, we can really bear this kind of soul power. The evil god Douluo opened the door in front of him unhurriedly and said at the same time, for ordinary soul masters, it is definitely impossible for you to do it, but with Fei and Lanshan, you can do it. It can definitely be done. Oh, what can I do? Fei was very puzzled. His memory for a while seemed to be in a state of confusion all the time, which made him only able to think about some coherent things uninterruptedly, to make his memory more vivid. In this case, maybe will it be able to stimulate my own memory to exist at a deeper level? In this way, the voice that kept shouting in his mind seemed to be clear. Using your second martial soul to neutralize the powerful soul power, shouldn't it mean nullifying the full and raging soul power? The voice of the evil god Douluo suddenly sounded in Jifei's mind. It seemed that the evil god Douluo didn't want other people to hear his words, but it also integrated Jifei's thoughts. After all, he actually had so many second spirits. Everyone knows. Yi Lanshan, immortal Douluo, evil god Douluo. Your second martial spirit possesses the special ability to nullify soul power. No matter how advanced the soul masters and soul beasts in your subordinate domain are, they cannot use and mobilize even a single bit of soul power or even their willpower. Everything will be blank. This is the true power of your martial soul. Don't worry, after this is completed, the old man will leave to look for that guy, to help you find your own power. So you are just going through the process now, and these soul powers are nothing to you. It can be regarded as some gifts for those little guys. After all, it is by your side, and this can be regarded as their blessing. Oh, by the way, my lord, it's not Yi Lanshan, it's Yi Lanshan. She's not simple. I'm not the same as the old man. He believes in protecting Yi Lanshan. I'm similar to the other 10 commandments. I believe she is poison, the real poison. Inexplicable words. Jifei came back to his senses and took a deep look at the evil god Douluo in front of him, and then turned his head to look at Yi Lanshan beside him. There seemed to be nothing unusual. Suddenly, Ziyu on the other side of Jifei let out a strange cry. I broke through. I actually broke through the 19th level of soul power. Just walking slowly like this, I actually broke through the bottleneck of more than 10 days. End of this chapter. Chapter 104 True Appearance. Is this a breakthrough? Ziyu shout shocked everyone, but all of them couldn't help but focus on the world presented behind the door, and all of them could clearly feel that the spirit power around them seemed to be so strong that they went back and forth. The breath inhaled and exhaled is the real soul power. This is really scary. And it can be seen that Ziyu's breakthrough is definitely not accidental. It is precisely because he is about to break through to the 19th level of soul power, but he is only a little short of a very strong soul power. But there is no doubt here it is to give Ziyu such an opportunity to break through, and it is still at the level where the soul power is so strong that it can be swallowed, and this level is the most terrifying. At this moment, Ziyu couldn't bear the excitement in her heart at all. He saw that he could clearly feel the soul power in his body was constantly gathering. This kind of soul power surpassed the soul power he had accumulated in previous cultivation. Even he had never felt it before in the spirit hall, such a rich soul power, but today he really experienced it. Originally, he thought that what evil god Douluo said should be exaggerated. But now he completely believes it. It is absolutely true. What's this? Undead Douluo smiled slightly. The evil god Douluo hasn't opened the real evil god spring yet. Wait until you really enter the evil god spring, and then reconcile the flow between the two after the terrifying soul power. You will completely feel that it is a wonderful thing to continuously break through levels. Of course, it is the same sentence that the old man said before. Don't be greedy. Don't be too greedy. The soul power is concentrated when there is too much. You cannot continue to absorb it. Open. While Jifei and the others were still listening to Undead Douluo's words, the evil god Douluo on the other side uttered a soft drink, and clouds suddenly rose from the originally huge inner hall. No, it should be said to be heat. The hot air aroused by the water flow, accompanied by the rise of hot air. The hall in front of me also changed drastically. This wall blocked it, and that wall continued to extend until it connected to another wall, and then a door suddenly appeared on that wall. Such an amazing thing. Jifei stared at the small door that appeared suddenly, and the wall that separated the original hall, but he didn't realize it for a while. Why does it feel that this is smarter than artificial intelligence? Could it be that it has a special mechanism? But what would be the driving force for such an institution? Is this too amazing? Gudu. Gudu. Water suddenly gushed out of the sunken pool. The bright blood red water was even more similar to water because it was bubbling, so it should be called water, right? This is the soul power in the surroundings. Jifei only felt that his martial soul seemed to be in motion. K is frantically absorbing the extremely rich soul power in the space. This is the evil god spring. Of course, it hasn't been fully gathered yet. After a while, you take off your clothes and enter the evil god spring to soak in it, and at the same time, start to run your respective martial souls to absorb the power in it. Of course, there are preparations for these female dolls. Yes, the effects of both are the same. As for observing your situation, we two old guys look at this side, and you go to observe the side with the 3 female dolls. As soon as the evil god Douluo finished speaking, a tall woman suddenly appeared beside him. This woman was wearing a long white dress, and stared at the 3 of Yi Lanshan with a pretty face, and then nodded. Nodding, he heard the voice and said, "Come here, 3, my name is Nji, and I will arrange for you to absorb the power of the evil god Spring. Of course, please cooperate." Nji's eyes fell on Yi Lanshan. Yi Lanshan nodded. "I will help you. Old man, do you think there should be no problem with my arrangement? She is the only one who can do it. Is it possible that I have to let Ji-Fei take a bath together? Presumably you don't want to, do you?" Evil god Douluo smiled strangely. "Even if you think I can't allow it." And Ji is the old man's confidant, and also has a cultivation level of 89. There is no one among the absolute top contrasts. I have already taught her what she needs to do. Her mind is much more delicate than mine. In addition to Yi Lanshan's special power, I'm afraid it is better than these 4 boys absorbing soul power. After all, Ji-Fei's martial soul has the ability to transform soul power. It can't compare to the divine tree of life. Is it the tree of life? Immortal Douluo said, "It doesn't matter. To a certain extent there is not much difference between the two, but the degree of pain absorbed is different. You 3. Immortal Douluo pointed to Ziyu, Yan, and Zhu Jiangxing. When Ji-Fei Kid uses the second martial soul, don't use the soul power hostilely, just use the soul power normally. It's enough to run the martial soul with all your strength, otherwise you will suffer the most terrifying blow. Don't think that this old man is just kidding you." Why? I remember someone said that before, saying that other people must not use soul power when I cast the second martial spirit, and he also warned me not to let me use a second martial spirit, but now, Ji-Fei would never have used a second martial spirit in the past, but he seemed to feel that he shouldn't listen to Tang Heo's words. Second martial soul? 6th brother, are you twin martial souls? Ziyu had just reacted from the excitement of the breakthrough and stared at Ji-Fei in astonishment. It was not that he had never heard of twin martial souls. True genius. Ji-Fei was dizzy. Could it be that, after talking for so long, none of them knew that they had twin martial souls? But it's right to think about it. The undead Douluo and the evil god Douluo are 2 people who don't match the words, even if I can feel a little familiar every time. But when I think about it carefully, they changed another one topic. This seems embarrassing. Well, I'm twin martial souls. Ji-Fei nodded. He couldn't hide it anymore, and it was worth paying a little to become stronger. Damn it. 6th brother is amazing. When we first met, I didn't expect you to be such a powerful existence. Twin martial souls. Zhu Jiangxing stared at Ji-Fei in surprise. I can't believe you are like this. A child younger than me actually has a soul power of level 24. Boy, what you said is wrong. It's level 25. End of this chapter. Chapter 105 about God. 039's punishment. Brother Ji-Fei has also broken through? Are you sure he has level 24 soul power instead of level 25? Well, the difference is not that great. He is definitely a monstrous character. I should not be too surprised. Yan stared at Ji-Fei in surprise. This was too terrifying. According to what Ji-Fei said, he was actually not even 7 years old, but he already possessed level 25 soul power, and what surprised him the most was, is it still so fast to break through more than 20 levels of soul power? Is it possible that, after entering the 20th level, the cultivation speed of the soul master can be accelerated? Like Ziyu, he also notes that he has been waiting for a long time at the bottleneck of level to level. Indeed, staying here and feeling the strong soul power, he also has a vague feeling that he is about to break through. Ji-Fei scratched his head. He still didn't understand the differentiation of soul power levels, but just now he suddenly felt the soul power all over his body was gathering, and the pores all over his body seemed to suddenly open and start to absorb the surroundings crazily. The strong soul power. This is what makes him feel novel, because he has never felt this way before. Previously, Tang Heo only taught him to control himself not to release the power of invalidating soul power at will, but now he can completely prevent his own soul power from being invalidated by the soul power originating from the second martial soul. It was a difficult process, and now Fei still feels shivering when recalling that arduous journey. The impacting water flow hit him hard, and the broken stones fell on him. But he had to make good use of his short stature to get in touch with the distance between each stone and control the size of the soul power used on the feet. If it is too large, then it is specified that it will fall off the weak rocks washed by the water flow, but if the soul power is too small, then it will fall directly from the waterfall due to insufficient grasping force. In fact, in the process among them, Fei did not fall down too often. But luckily, with Douluo, the spiritual body differentiated from Yilanshan's power, by his side, most of the injuries were healed, and it was only in an instant. The recovery time is good, and it also greatly improves Fei's training speed to complete the control of soul power invalidation. I didn't feel much about the upgrade of my own soul power after hunting and absorbing the soul ring before, and I didn't practice much during this period of time. It may be that the soul power has reached the level that is about to break through. Haha, this can be considered lucky, but to a large extent, it is the effect of the wonderful evil spring of the evil god Douluo. Fei didn't want to say that his soul power was originally at level 24. After absorbing a 1000-year-old Izanami soul ring and a century-old centipede soul ring, his soul power immediately reached level. The breakthrough also made Fei feel that it is such a wonderful feeling to absorb the breakthrough of soul power, and it also let Fei know that the breakthrough is such a process that seems simple, but actually contains thousands of things. Okay, sixth brother, don't attack us, okay? Zhu Jiangxing lowered his head halfway. We know that you are a complete evildoer, and it doesn't matter, even if you break through, but we will not lag behind you. Although I know the soul power is only at level 14. But I will definitely catch up with you soon. The bloody water in the pool was already full, and the fog hovering above kept rising, soon filling the whole room. If Fei and the others didn't look hard, they would all see it. People less than 4 weeks away. Boy, don't worry, this is the evil god's old trick, to protect your second martial soul from being discovered by others. What you need to do next is simple and easy, but difficult. Undead Douluo's voice rang slowly in Fei's mind. You need to release your second martial soul, and then maintain the form of the second martial soul, to absorb the soul power. Of course, this is a disguised form. It's like you've started to cultivate your second martial spirit. Lan Shan told the old man about Tang Heo, and she also knows about the so-called 1-year agreement. You don't have to care about these things. You just need to know that we used to obey you. After you really find your own memory and strength, you will fully understand that Tang Heo doesn't necessarily want to train you so purely. You don't have to worry about what Tang Heo will do to you. To the old man and the evil god, apart from God's punishment, everything else is nothing more than ants. But also because of God's punishment, we can't show too much. Radical. So I look forward to your rapid growth. In that case we may also break free from the shackles of God's punishment. Fei tried to respond. Mr. Immortal, what exactly is God's punishment? Why do I feel a little familiar? Besides, you and evil god Douluo have talked about it several times, and I really don't have parents. Why? Why did Tang Heo tell me that I have parents? Please tell me roughly. I really don't want to be kept in the dark about my cultivation. The voice of the undead teacher was full of emotion. Oh, God's punishment is something that can't be talked about. It is an existence that no one on the Douluo Continent can resist. It will restrain the sinners. They are not allowed to kill life indiscriminately, let alone kill high-level soul masters. If they violate it, they will receive divine punishment. As for the specific form of divine punishment, it also varies from person to person. As for your parents, it may be due to some special reasons. At least you did not have parents in the era before the old man fell asleep, but after all, the old man has been asleep for so many years. I don't even know the name of Tang Heo or something like that. I know, but the old man has a little impression of Tang Chen. He seems to have comprehended a little bit of God's will, but that was 100 years ago, and the old man has no interest in them, or Tang Heo knows something different. Not sure. Perhaps Lanshan knows. After all, she has been looking for your whereabouts for 10 years, but she doesn't seem to want to mention this matter. The voice stopped abruptly, not because of anything else. The evil god Douluo interrupted the conversation between Fei and undead Douluo. Boy Fei, hurry up and go in. If you don't neutralize the violent soul power first, do you want to make these little brothers of yours explode and die? If that's the case, this old man is irresponsible. Don't come to Kia how to settle accounts and say that the old man killed them. End of this chapter. Chapter 106 Soul Power Ineffective Domain. Hearing the urging of the evil god Douluo, Fei quickly took off his clothes and walked slowly into the evil god's spring in the scattered mist. The surge of soul power was terrifying. Fei could only feel an extremely suppressed aura constantly surging toward him, and along with the berserk aura, it directly penetrated into his body. It's now. Show your second martial spirit. Immortal Douluo's voice sounded again. He was standing outside and staring closely at Fei's change in kinetic. Standing beside him were Ziyu, Yan, and Zhujiangxing. The three of them could only see each other. There are some outlines, but the three of them have already felt the continuous attack of more violent power. This is a feeling that the soul power is so pure that it is indescribable. They only feel that they are completely wrapped in a soul power. What breathes in the sphere is soul power, and what you see is soul power. You can condense a complete ball of soul power by stretching out your hand and pinching it. Fei in the pool felt the scorching hot water and didn't wait too long. For some reason, when he entered the pool, his raging and violent soul power suddenly weakened by more than half, but in the air the pervasive violent soul power didn't seem to have weakened much. I don't know if it's because the upper part is the real evaporation point of the soul power, or the pool water below is the discarded and useless soul power. Concentrated, Fei looked at his palm. The faint purple soul power was constantly being released, and the second martial soul, which was originally suppressed by the chaotic villain of the first martial soul, seemed to truly bloom at this moment with its proud power. Slowly, on the top of Fei's head, a delicate crown exuding terrifying and depressing power condensed. When the crown was completely worn on top of Fei's head, Fei suddenly felt the spirit power around him dissipate. Now, everything is at a level of emptiness. The water he sees is not blood-colored water, but such simple white water. On the pool, undead Douluo, evil god Douluo, Ziyu, Yan, and Zhujiangxing are all there, watching the subtle movements happening around. All of a sudden, Fei felt a small hand hugging him in the palm of his hand. He took a closer look and saw that the chaotic villain with the first Wuhan also appeared. He was holding Fei's hand and shook his head again and again. With very clear eye sockets, Fei could be sure that it was staring at the crown of destruction above his head. No way. This guy doesn't want to eat my crown of destruction, does he? That's not okay. Fei hurriedly urged the villain chaos to make it disappear as soon as possible. Wasn't the Wuhan in the system book just swallowed by this guy with his big mouth? Moreover, Tan was still so ruthless. He didn't even care about how terrible the damage Fei caused to himself after the sudden disappearance of his martial soul. So when Fei saw such an expression from the chaotic villain, he couldn't help but feel. Be alert. But instead of disappearing directly, the chaotic villain spit out a short sword from his mouth, held the short sword tightly in its small hand, and then pointed at the crown of destruction on Fei's head without saying a word. Crazy strokes. That luck seems to be provoking to destroy the crown. But Fei himself can still feel very clearly that the body of this chaotic villain seems to be trembling non-stop because the two fit together, and that trembling feeling is accompanied by Fei's own thoughts more and more intense. Roll. But Fei only felt that in an instant, the crown of destruction on his head made a series of shocks, and at the same time a hazy word roll appeared like this, while Chaos, who was still waving his dagger in his hand with his teeth and claws, the villain seemed to have seen a ghost and disappeared in place. Fei was a little speechless. Wasn't he still so arrogant just now? He was gesturing with a short sword, gesticulating, and then disappeared like this. He opened his mouth and began to bite his own crown of destruction. It seems that the current situation did not happen. On the contrary, after the strong pressure from the crown of destruction, the villain of chaos ran away, and ran away. Such embarrassment, the kind of throwing away your helmet and armor. Did you see it, old man? It's really the crown of destruction, the existence beyond the heart of destruction, and it symbolizes the true will to command destruction. Tell me, if the heart of destruction also returns, what will Fei do? To what extent can the kid cultivate? Immortal Douluo took a deep look at Fei, who was waiting quietly in the pool, and then said, maybe the divine punishment will be in vain, but the heart of destruction has already left to become a god alone, and there is nothing left alone. He loves. Don't be emotional, let's go to the next step quickly. According to Fei's soul power of level 25, this state can't last long at all, and there is a limit to the time when the evil spirit spring can be opened. After all, hundreds of years of soul power have been gathered. But not much, although the moon reflecting stone can gather most of the aura, it still dissipates a lot after all. After all, the soul power belongs to the heaven and the earth. Undead Douluo nodded, and while transmitting the sound to Fei, he turned around and said to Ziyu, Yan, and Zhu Jiangxing, who were hiding in the mist, take off your clothes and enter this pool. And then, as I said before, I released my martial soul and started trying to communicate with the soul power in the evil god spring. If it reaches saturation, then I will call it out quickly. You can't be saved here, and the name of the old man is not dead, but it doesn't mean that the students of the old man's professor can also be immortal. Simultaneously, Fei did a good job. Just keep it like this for as long as possible, and at the same time, if you follow what the old man said, it is very likely that you will understand another special function of destroying the crown, not just the soul. Nullification of power. After all, your crown of destruction martial soul is a martial soul that transcends the constraints of the soul ring in the true sense. Nullification of soul power is just one of the very subtle things. With further sublimation, you can control the rebound of soul power, no matter how it is for such an attack. As long as it belongs to the range of soul power, you can bounce back, and bounce back doubled. Soul power abound? Fei was thinking and trying to maintain the current state of the second martial soul. I have to say that this state really consumes his own soul power, but there is such a strong soul power to make up for it. If so, it can last for a while. End of this chapter. Chapter 107, The Meaning of Greed. The more Fei used the second martial spirit to destroy the crown, the more he could feel a very special and terrifying power constantly gathering. It seems that they have their own special will to get rid of Fei's own control, and the more they use their minds to this point, the more unfettered this force will be. All Fei could think of was the word destruction, from Tang Heo telling him that his destruction crown martial soul has the power to nullify soul power, to what undying Douluo told him about his destruction crown martial soul has a special power to rebound soul power, all of which made Fei fall into deep thinking. What kind of existence should this martial soul of his be? The soul power is constantly gathering, and Fei can clearly feel that every time the pool of water flows, many indescribable things will penetrate into the body from the thousands of pores on the body. This feeling is very comfortable, but it seems there was some pain, but it wasn't as terrifying as undead Douluo said before. For me, the flow of soul power reflects the level of martial soul and body absorption to the greatest extent. I have twin martial souls and my innate soul power is at level. This kind of starting point is an existence that many people can hardly match. So, I don't have to worry too much about breaking through the level. After all, no matter how solid my foundation is, if I quickly break through the cultivation base, it will definitely cause the foundation to be unstable, and it can even be said that I will waste my talent, causing the previous or the accumulated strength has been exhausted. Fei opened his eyes slightly, and he seemed to be able to see everyone's expressions through the layers of fog in front of him. I understand why Master Immortal and Evil God Douluo keep telling us not to be too greedy. It's a big deal. Part of it is not only because absorbing too much soul power may cause unnecessary burden on one's body. The more important level is that the short-term breakthrough is only to completely break through one's own bottleneck period. No soul master can have you been living in a place with such a rich soul power. After all, such a strong soul power is also formed by accumulating almost hundreds of years of soul power ingestion. Pain. It's really painful. It's like being eaten by countless ants. No, it should be more profound and unforgettable. Ziyu tightly closed her eyes, He could feel that when his martial spirit was in a state of restlessness, the two crescent moons behind his back had little spots of bloody light, and a terrifying force seemed to flow continuously from the spring water, pulling his own martial soul, and then guiding the soul power to pour into his body. For a child like him who is only 9 years old, this process is very painful. The soul contained in his body, the power is only between a fixed value, and suddenly putting him in such a pool full of soul power is really not suitable. So, when he first entered this pool, he just slowly tried to manifest his martial soul, and then slowly let his martial soul recognize and absorb such an inexplicable and extremely terrifying soul power. Ziyu herself knew that she must not greedily absorb too much soul power. Perhaps when immortal Douluo said this to them before, he just simply felt that it was alarmist. Shouldn't absorbing soul power be like drinking cold water or breathing normally for them who are soul masters? Where is there any division between greed and non-greed? But now he feels so much that his previous self was too stupid. The intensity of this soul power is really beyond his imagination. Feeling such painful soul power continuously intruding into his body, the original dominant absorption seems to have become the dominant defense. This is really a subtle change. I can't be too greedy. Teacher Undead is right. The cultivation of a soul master needs to be done step by step. Although this time is considered to be a one-time chance, and will never have a second chance, I can't be too crazy. Otherwise maybe it will develop towards an unforeseen level, which is not what I want. Although my soul power is not as powerful as the sixth brother, I can vaguely feel that I'm in the evil spirit spring. The soul power within this moment is about to break through to the 20th level, and I have never thought of such a breakthrough speed, and it is not an exaggeration to say that this may have been a luxury. Ziyu is very similar to Fei in this aspect. Both of them can control their original exploration psychology to a certain level, even in the face of such a terrifying treasure to improve their cultivation. They can't help it. It is very rare among soul masters to be able to keep the desire in their hearts more or less. After all, no soul master will give up the treasure in front of them that can quickly improve their cultivation. After all, isn't the goal of soul masters to improve their cultivation as soon as possible? Why? At this moment, in the pool where Fei was, a slender sharp blade was suspended above Zhu Jiangxing's head. This sharp blade released weak soul power. This evil spirit spring was completely suppressed, and if it was said who among the four of Fei and the others was suffering the most at this moment, it would undoubtedly be Zhu Jiangxing's. In itself, his soul power belongs to the lowest category, and his physical endurance is not that strong. He is similar to Huo Rao. After awakening the martial soul, what he does the most is almost how fast improve their own soul power, so the two of them can stand out among the new generation of Fire Leopard Sect and Wind Sword Sect, and it is precisely because of this reason that they did not pay attention to physical strength training. Although Fei has already used the invalidation of soul power to reduce most of the soul power in the surrounding area including the pool of the evil god spring, but the soul power in this evil god spring is too violent and rampant, as if releasing them, that have been banned for 100 years like resentment, it penetrated fiercely into the bodies of Fei and the others. This is a kind of revenge. If it survives, it will naturally become a benefit. If it cannot survive, it will cause fundamental damage. Still young, if it damages the foundation of future cultivation, then it can be said with certainty, it will become extremely difficult for them on the road of soul master cultivation in the future. This is not alarmist. End of this chapter. Chapter 108 Greed and Laziness. Heretic God Douluo, while the children are still practicing, this old man also wants to talk to you. Immortal Douluo's gaze, which was staring at the evil god spring, moved aside. He stared at the evil god Douluo in front of him, pondering a little, and it could be seen from his restrained eyes that he was actually very resistant to talking. But because of some special reasons, he had to talk to the evil god Douluo. You said. The evil god Douluo's gaze stayed on Fei all the time, and he seemed to see in his heart the figure of the one who resisted the punishment of the gods alone, and ranked among the top gods tens of thousands of years ago point at that time, who could just wave the scepter in his hand with one hand to destroy the world, and just a simple gaze seemed to be able to cover the sun, moon, and stars and make them dim. About the decline, what do you think? Don't tell the old man that it is because of her that the current situation is caused. The old man has seen what the Lord has done in the past tens of thousands of years. She kept talking, looking for the whole master, constantly looking for the whole master. Even if she was guilty for 10 years, can't she still be able to redeem her? And you also know that the whole master loves her very much. The evil god Douluo sneered. That's self-importance. So what if it's 10 years? So what if the atonement is completed? Today, the evil god has given you enough face by not killing her. Of course I also know that fate cannot be changed. Even if I kill her, it won't help. After all, she can't be killed. From the very beginning, the combination of the palace master and her was a mistake. And I don't know what the stupid palace master thinks. He would fall in love with such a woman. HMPH. He deserved it for 10 years. The Cthulhu Douluo seemed to hate iron and steel, but what he revealed should be helplessness and remorse. Forget it. Forget it. Anyway, I'm tired of that kind of life, and I'm pretty good now. At least I'm living a simple life, and there's nothing to make me feel bad. The same goes for you, old man. Immortal. Even though you and I only have the strength of a titled Douluo, we can be immortal. Isn't that good? Immortal Douluo shook his head. Do you feel good? Seeing friends and relatives die one by one, and you have never changed at all. Haven't you felt the pain? Titled Douluo also has a limited lifespan. Yes, but for guys like us who have been abandoned by the sky, there is no dividing line between life and death. Isn't this just right? But this time I saw this brand new palace master, and to be honest, I was also moved. That's why I said that I'm also preparing to go out of the mountain. Take a look at the current state of the mainland. It's not bad to take revenge, by the way. It's okay, although I'm not good at attacking the titled Douluo directly, but it shouldn't be a problem to ask the palace master, right? The evil god Douluo looked at the immortal Douluo. If you also feel guilty, tell the master to avenge Xiao or Well, if you still have a trace of guilt in your heart. Immortal Douluo's expression froze. He shook his head. What can I do if I'm dead, but I can't live? I have thought about revenge, but there is no way. God's punishment is too powerful. And I seem to be in the long years. I have almost forgotten Xiaorao's appearance. Do you think I deserve to die? The evil god Douluo said. You are damned, but you can't die, can you? At least you and Xiaorao still have a child, and my only sister Xiaorao is dead, and I can't go back. I can't go back either. A child? I don't seem to deserve it either. Undead Douluo laughed at himself. Can you help me to see her? After all, you are her uncle. I just want her to live in peace and stability, but I haven't seen her for more than years. She's gone, and I don't know what she looks like now. She may look like her mother, or she may look better. If you really want to see it, then go by yourself. After putting down these words, the evil god Douluo put his eyes on Fei again, and suddenly thought of something. I can feel that the wave coming from the bloodline of the god of soul beasts has already transformed. Not long ago, if anyone in this world had the bloodline of the god of soul beasts, except for me, your daughter had a little more, although it was diluted by your sin of greed almost, but there are. Confused, immortal Douluo pressed the evil god Douluo, and the original Gujing Wubo's face suddenly revealed an excited expression. You mean, my daughter has transformed? She has transformed? She has become an adult. If you believe that it comes from the bloodline of the god of soul beasts, then what I said is correct. The evil god Douluo continued. How is it? Are you looking forward to it again? A daughter with such a bloodline is, as long as you are willing. She won't die, will she? My daughter, my daughter. Undead Douluo's mouth twitched. No, I'm going to find my daughter now. Relying on the blood of greed, I can definitely find her. I want to bring her to my side. To make up for my mistakes. More than 100,000 years, when I left their mother and child, I remember very clearly that she was so young, so small. What's the use of you going? What if she doesn't recognize you? What if she won't forgive you? Don't even think about it. I have a feeling that the Lord of the Temple may have some kind of relationship with your daughter. Intersection. Of course, the so-called intersection is just communication. After all, isn't the palace master's favorite all the time the lord of some sort? Are you lazy, and can you predict? But yes, I have been waiting for so long. Do I still lack such a little time? Take your time and make up for it slowly. After all, I owe them too much. Anyway, it's not your gold soul coin that can make up for it. The evil god Douluo joked. I know. Come on, it's almost at the limit. That little guy named Zhujiangxing has reached the limit, although his martial spirit is not bad, but compared with the others, there is still a big gap, and that boy Yan, his martial arts the soul is also very strange, but it's a pity that, if you stay by my side to cultivate after awakening, it may not be much weaker than the master's cultivation now. The little guy named Ziyu is doing well, but what I value more is the whole master's aura is such that he doesn't hesitate to consume a lot of his own soul power to weaken the terrifying soul power around him. Haha, isn't that why our group is willing to follow the whole master? Don't we all want to go back to the whole master, even though the whole master is only at level 20 now? Immortal Douluo said the mood at this moment was extremely comfortable, and he actually laughed out loud. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109. Fei suddenly opened his eyes, and the distorted purple soul power around him continued to gather, and waves of mighty soul power resonated sharply around the periphery and inside Fei's body, and this sound spread all around. Shaking away the fog of soul power gathered around, Fei let go, and the second martial soul destruction crown was put away in an instant. It's not that Fei didn't want to continue to release the martial soul, but that he had really reached a critical point, and he couldn't continue to release the destruction. The crown martial soul is gone, and the destruction of the crown martial soul is too crazy to consume its own spiritual power and soul power, and the oppressive feeling of reducing the surrounding soul power for a long time is also very uncomfortable. When Fei stood up, the surrounding fog of soul power had completely dissipated. Ziyu, Yan, and Zhujiangxing and the evil god Spring had all disappeared. They seemed to have reached the critical point very early. At this point, the improvement of one's own strength has also reached a point where it is impossible to advance again. At that point, it is necessary to start to choose what Undead Douluo said, don't choose greed. The three of them all know how much they weigh, or what level of soul power their own soul power can absorb. The three of them who are self-destructing their future will definitely not be involved. Fei waded through the evil god Spring, and the closed gate and the originally separated corridor were still the same. It seemed that they had been out for a long time. Fei slightly released his soul power, and evaporated the water droplets on his body, and shook hands tightly. Fei felt dizzy with his own fist, the tense force and the soul power continuously released from his body. Is this my current soul power? It feels like it has improved a lot compared to before, and the soul power level probably has no less than 28. While wearing clothes, Fei was thinking, the efficiency of his soul power improvement this time was very fast, and it was even a bit exaggerated. Then there is a characteristic, that is, you can't feel the floating feeling brought about by the rapid improvement of your cultivation base. That is, your own foundation does not have the kind of unsteady feeling brought about by the rapid improvement of your cultivation base feel. Pushing open the door, Fei saw Yi Lanshan, Ziyu, Yan, Zhujiangxing, Hu Lina, and Huo Rao sitting cross-legged on the ground at first sight. Different soul powers, but judging from the aura of their respective soul powers, their strength has increased by more than 1 or 2 levels. You finished it too? 30 level soul power. This speed has increased a bit fast. It seems that I need to teach you how to solidify your own soul power during this period of time. Although the soul power of the evil god Spring is very strong, it's special, but you can't squander your soul power like this. Immortal Douluo was also a little surprised when he stared at the changes in Fei's own soul power. Originally, he felt that, even if Fei had the blessing of the second martial soul crown of destruction, his soul power would not increase so quickly, right? From level 24 at the beginning, to level 25, after absorbing the breath of the evil god Spring, and after a day and night of practice, the soul power has been raised by a full 5 levels. This is indeed a very terrifying practice speed, but the rest of the dolls are similar. Looking back at Yi Lanshan and the others, in the face of the extremely confusing option of quickly increasing your soul power and giving up your long-term goals, you can still maintain a sliver of reason for the future. Yes, this is very good, and you have completely obeyed the old man's words. It seems that you can't be punished. Mr. Immortal, where is the evil god Douluo? Fei looked around and couldn't find the evil god Douluo, so he was inevitably a little puzzled. So he asked, "That old guy, let's go. I'm going to look for what he lost before. Anyway, he is so strong at this level, so don't worry about him." Undead Douluo continued, "However, it is a pity that he did not find Tazian and the missing soul masters among the group of soul masters he took in yesterday. It seems that Tazian has other plans, but this mission it doesn't matter anymore. Even if the guys from Wuhandian Academy ask if they only need to throw ZU and the others out, maybe the old man can get a lot of gold soul coins as a reward." Gone. AKG Fei of Undead Douluo has completely ignored it. No matter what you do, you need to carefully consider whether there is any special gold soul coin reward and the value of the gold soul coin. If Undead Douluo seems to have it in his eyes, then his own motivation will continue to improve. Even if you let him show his true strength, it feels like this is possible. But if there is no such value within the range he thinks, he may just throw it away casually. Point after all, such things are tasteless. Teacher, did the evil god Douluo just throw it here casually? Could it be that such a vast palace complex and these treasures are all thrown here? Fei was obviously feeling a little emotional. This is a rich man. Such a vast palace was abandoned here? Immortal Douluo shook his head. That's not the case at all. That old evil god Douluo has his subordinates, just like the previous Contra who was called before. They are his subordinates. They will be here in Ali, yes, and after we leave, all these palaces will sink into the ground, quietly waiting for that old evil god Douluo to come back. Sinking into the ground? Fei was stunned. Is it so magical? That guy Wanji designed this for the evil god. That guy Wanji is a very powerful guy. Although he also has the cultivation base of title Douluo, the most powerful thing should be his soul tool technique. Then it's really scary, but fortunately, he should be on another continent far, far away now. Undead Douluo shook his head to himself. Fortunately, he's not here, otherwise the spirit beasts here would still be here. I don't know how many people will die in these 100 years. Wanji. Fei felt that this must be another strange guy. After all, none of the people who knew evil god Douluo and immortal Douluo were normal guys, and none of them were simple. By the way, this is what the evil god Douluo left for you. It's a very good thing. If you are in danger, if you open it, it can completely protect your own life. Undead Douluo took it out with an ambiguous long token. End of this chapter. Chapter 110. So exaggerated. They are now dissolving the soul power gathered in their bodies. This process will be very long. It may end today, or may make us wait for many days to know why you don't need to dissolve the soul in the evil god spring that you have absorbed like them power. Immortal Douluo stared at Fei. From his eyes, it could be seen that he valued Fei very much, or respected him from another level. Fei shook his head. I don't know, but I can feel that when I absorb the soul power, there is no special power flooding in instantly, but it is advancing very slowly, as if it came from the evil spirit. The power of Shenquan seems to be very afraid of my own power, although I don't know if it is right to say this, but I will definitely not guess wrong about this feeling. Undead Douluo also nodded and said in a warm voice, "That's right. The power of this evil god spring will not reach the level of your own second martial soul power. Of course, this is because your second martial soul is very special. Your first martial soul is very special and has a similar effect to the old man's martial soul. But I have to deny that your first martial soul is stronger than the old man's martial soul. Isn't it? Phew. Mr. Immortal, I have a question now. How do you judge your own soul power level? I just feel that sometimes, when I'm practicing, I will suddenly have a special and unique power that is constantly released. And the whole person also began to feel comfortable in such an instant. I think this should be a breakthrough in the level of my own martial soul. But what is the standard for this definition? Although Fei can roughly understand the principle of how martial soul absorbs soul power, of course, this is what Fei has explored step by step. Tang Heo has never taught him these things. Tang Heo taught him a lot of things. Part of it is how to skillfully use the power, to nullify the soul power. Such things seem to be very special things, but it is obviously very biased when the martial soul is combined with one's own level. Undead Douluo nodded. I didn't think that you haven't comprehended these things, but since you said it, and you don't know, then I will explain to you the simple and true meaning of a soul master's cultivation level breakthrough. What are the boundaries? Fei nodded. These are what he wants to know the most. He doesn't want to know how to break through after breaking through, and he doesn't even know the relationship between soul power. So how can this be regarded as where is a soul master? This is simply too fake, right? Immortal Douluo said, the process of a soul master's cultivation lies in the word meditation. Of course, if a soul master wants to improve his cultivation, he needs to meditate. For example, if he uses things like the evil god spring to improve his level, it is just a foreigner. No matter how domineering the power of the evil god spring is, it is impossible to compare with the level of the soul master slowly raised by one's own meditation. So in the next period of time, the old man will prohibit you from increasing your soul power. After a month or two of solidification, then I started to meditate again. As for the breakthrough of the level, the feeling is not much different from what you said before. It is the result of special changes in the body. A large-scale breakthrough is a breakthrough that spans 10 levels. The most obvious one is yourself. The specific changes in the spirit itself. Such changes are very obvious. You should have experienced this feeling after acquiring the spirit ring and absorbing the spirit ring before, right? Fei nodded thoughtfully. The guy who hunted the soul ring for you should have selfishness. If the old man hunted the soul beast for you to get the soul ring, then the old man would go directly to hunt 2000-year level soul rings for you, because you are completely it's all bearable. Maybe it's also because that guy doesn't have a deep understanding of your own soul of destruction crown. The first soul ring has 1000 years, and the second soul ring has absorbed a century-old soul ring again. Really can't believe how that guy imagined it was really stupid. Stupid? Fei didn't care about these things. What he was thinking about now was Undead Douluo's words. It turns out that the division and perception of soul masters are like this. It can be seen from the changes of martial souls. It is also possible to practice through my own meditation. It seems that I have wasted a lot of time. So what is the specific way of meditation? Teacher Immortal, what is the specific way of meditation? Is it possible to close your eyes and wait quietly for your soul power to improve? Immortal Douluo smiled slightly. That's definitely not the case. If you want to communicate your own soul power with the floating soul power between heaven and earth, it's not much different from absorbing the soul power in the evil god spring. You need your own perception. Only you have such a special perception yourself that you can realize how wonderful the process of meditation is and how important meditation is to a soul master. Can you communicate with the soul power in your own body and the soul power floating between heaven and earth? It seems that this is the fundamental, so if you want to do this, you obviously need the communication between the soul power and the martial soul itself, which is also very important. After all, martial spirit is the medium for communicating soul power, whether it is a soul power of the outside world or the soul power within the body. Fei was interrupted by a familiar voice when he was listening to Professor Undead Douluo about the level limit of the Soul Master and his own breakthrough, and Fei gradually came back to his senses. It turned out that Lanshan, who was just in the process of absorbing soul power, had already completed the absorption. Immortal Douluo was taken aback for a moment. Obviously what he just taught Fei was already what he should have taught. Originally his own perception of soul power was at a very ethereal level, even at a level that was not so clear, and he could only give Fei a brief description of his step-by-step cultivation process. How much he can comprehend specifically depends on how much Fei can comprehend from his own specific situation. This combination of comprehension and meditation cannot be completed overnight. After all, the cultivation of a soul master is a long process. After all, for stronger power and longer lifespan, they dare not give up, but for Undead Douluo, he has no interest in what he has already obtained. Perhaps he is more interested in gold soul coins. End of this chapter. Chapter 111. Adjusted. Ji Fei held Yi Lanshan's hand and said in a warm voice, there was no need for Yi Lanshan to tell anything, because he had already felt a restrained and very special aura from Yi Lanshan's body, and the source of this aura was undoubtedly it's just a long process from the appearance of the soul power to the convergence in the body, but Yi Lanshan absorbs it very quickly. Although he did not directly use the crown of destruction to eliminate the overflowing soul power like Ji Fei, it is very rare to be able to gather and complete the soul power in such a short period of time, and it can be clearly seen that Yi Lanshan's own soul power the level seems to have improved a lot, at least much higher than the previous level of 25. Just like Ji Fei's current soul power is the real TH level. I don't know how much soul power accumulated in the evil god spring has absorbed this TH level of soul power to reach such a point, but Ji Fei can feel it. Yi Lanshan's own soul power should not be much different from her own. After all, she has reached a critical point. If she wants to continue to improve her level, she needs to hunt soul beasts to obtain a soul ring. Yi Lanshan nodded. 30 level soul power is still a good improvement, but it's still not as good as yours, and the soul power has increased so much in one go. Can you treat Ji Fei as a normal person? You should also know how special his second martial soul is. Undead Douluo smiled slightly. Both of you are amazing, but you have already reached level soul power at the age of 6 or 7. You can't find such an existence even in the whole continent now, but the next after a period of time, the speed of your soul power improvement will slow down a little, not because of your own reasons, but because the old man will let you officially enter the process of steady cultivation. Lanshan, what stage has your martial spirit started? Suddenly, Immortal Douluo said these words to Yi Lanshan, and Ji Fei, who was standing by the side, was also taken aback. Does Wuhan still have stages? Shouldn't it be specifically differentiated with one's own soul skills? So what is the phase nature that Undead Douluo is talking about at this moment? Yi Lanshan replied, it's the third stage. It can be regarded as recovering all injuries of a soul master. All soul power and the specific enhancement of refined soul skills can be completed, but the specific use still needs to obtain the third stage. It can only be used after the soul ring. Immortal Douluo nodded in satisfaction. That's right. You are developing towards your original attributes. It seems that you will be able to change from a perfect auxiliary system soul master to another all-around soul master in a short time. How can an auxiliary system soul master become an all-around system? Ji Fei is relatively clear about the division of soul masters at this stage. For example, if he uses blue silver grass, then it is the control system, and the dead wood 2 and vine is also the control system, and the real Izanami martial soul it is biased towards the attack system, but also has the effect of the control system. The martial soul is special. Undead Douluo gave such an answer. The martial soul possessed by Yi Lanshan is the tree of life. This kind of martial soul can be said to be the most terrifying auxiliary martial soul in the world. Jiuxin Begonia or Kibaoliuli, these auxiliary martial spirits that exist in this era, are too far behind the divine tree of life, and they can't even be compared together. Ji Fei obviously couldn't believe it. Of course, he had heard of auxiliary martial arts such as Kibaoliuli and Jiuxin Begonia. The effect of the increase was absolutely terrifying, and it was said that the Jiuxin Begonia Wuhan can also directly restore a soul master's negative state and soul power, which seems to be an extremely difficult existence. The old man has been in a deep sleep for a long time, and after waking up, he has a general understanding of the soul masters of this era. The basic auxiliary system martial soul is the real transformation into an auxiliary system. When fighting, they can only come down under the protection of other teammate soul masters, assistants, but in the era of the old man, the soul masters of the auxiliary system were the most terrifying existence. Compared with the soul masters of the attack system, the soul masters of the auxiliary system had faster and stronger ranged attacks, and they had less soul power than the soul masters of the control system. And it has the characteristics of quick effect, and you have to remember that the tree of life is not a kind of martial soul. It is similar to your crown of destruction. It is a special will, a real will. The tree of life can even communicate with long dead souls after possessing the spirit avatar, bringing their souls back from another world and burning their own resentment to maintain action. It can be regarded as an alternative way of resurrection. Of course, even if the old man has only seen it once. As for the soul skills of the higher level divine tree of life, the old man has never seen it before. Is it so powerful? Fei couldn't help but put his eyes on Yi Lanshan again. It is really terrifying to be able to revive the dead soul power with the most burning tool of obsession in life. By the way, Teacher Immortal, where are we going after that? Are we going back to Wuhandian Academy directly? Or do we have other plans? Fei naturally wants to cultivate in a safe and stable way after obtaining a real soul master. For a period of time. After all, there is not so much time left for myself. Undead Douluo looked at Yi Lanshan, then at Ziyu and the others who were still gathering their soul power, and shook their heads. Go back to Wuhandian Academy. Let's not hunt soul beasts for the time being. This is for you. It is very inappropriate to say that. It can be seen that their soul power has reached the level of 20, and the old man can even say that once they get the soul ring, their soul power will directly rush to level 25. Which means that's because the old guy from the evil god said that it might be raised to level. You also know that if a soul master does not apply a soul ring, he will not be able to continue to improve his cultivation after reaching a certain level limit, but the evil god spring is to get rid of this disadvantage. It can be said that the soul power of each of you has been broken now. Originally constrained by common sense, you only need to kill a soul beast and absorb the soul ring, then your soul power level will undergo a qualitative change again. Fei nodded. It hasn't been long since I got the soul ring. It seems that it is not a good choice to absorb the soul ring again now. As you said, Teacher Undead, Soul Master should not be too greedy, otherwise it is even more uncertain what kind of road it will take in the end. Steady cultivation and study of the principles of Soul Master meditation are the most important things for Fei in front of him. Fei, take out the token that the old guy from the evil god left you. I will tell you about the true function of this token, and the token that this old man. End of this chapter. Chapter 112 Tokens. The evil god Douluo gave me something. Fei casually pulled out the token given to him by undead Douluo not long ago. He hadn't carefully measured the specific image of the token just now, but if he felt it carefully now, Fei himself, it is possible to draw such a special conclusion. That is, the material of this token is quite good. It is delicate and has a cool touch, which is something only a few good materials can have. After all, Fei himself got the material spit out by the villain of chaos. The delicate material is similar to the special touch of this token, but there is such a simple visual impact on the face of this token. This is very special. This token? Fei saw that the immortal Douluo on the other side also took out a token that was exactly the same in appearance as this token, except that the handwriting outlined on it was different in shape, but it is undeniable that these two tokens should have the same pointing meaning in terms of attributes. This token is similar to this ring. It is a symbol of status, and it also belongs to the inheritance of our will. You see, the word greed is engraved on my token, and at this moment the evil god fighting in your hand, the token that Luo left you is engraved with the word lazy. Do you know that the evil god Douluo will ask the old man to hand over this token to you? Undying Douluo's narration made Fei somewhat confused. What kind of thing is this? Doesn't it mean to transfer it to yourself to save your life in a critical moment? But what is this now? Shaking his head, Fei didn't know what the reason was, but just quietly waited for Undying Douluo's explanation, and Fei could tell from Undying Douluo's bloody eyes that he was very concerned about this token, and the ring on his hand is very precious. This token contains the power of laziness of the evil god Douluo. You can comprehend the power of laziness from it. At the same time, as long as you comprehend it thoroughly, you can even control the realm of laziness. Do you know what a realm is? Without waiting for Fei's answer, Undead Douluo continued. Within the scope of the domain, you will be truly invincible, unless the enemy domain you encounter is stronger than you. But the domain that belongs to us, such as laziness, it's different. As long as there are lazy people in this world, then this is the scope of laziness, and the power given back to you by boundless laziness is truly powerful. The Cthulhu's laziness domain has such power. In the laziness domain, one's own soul power is mirrored and divided into the number of nearby people who have lazy thoughts. Let me explain it to you in a simple way. That is, as long as you completely mastering the lazy field will have such a few special changes. In the field of laziness, you can condense as many mirror images as you want according to the number of people with lazy thoughts in the field. Just like you have the power of titled Douluo within the scope of your laziness field. If you have 10 guys with lazy thoughts in their hearts, then the evil thoughts in their hearts will instantly condense into a mirror image. This mirror image can contrast with yourself, so the strength of this mirror image is titled Douluo. If the mirror image contrasts with an ordinary soul master, then the strength of this mirror image character is an ordinary soul master. Of course the mirror image depends on you. This is one of the benefits of the lazy field. There are many old men who haven't seen it, so you know why the old man said before, why the evil god Douluo is the worst guy to provoke. People have evil thoughts. No matter how noble you are, you can't escape the real evil thoughts, and laziness is even more so. Even if you yawn yourself, it may evolve into laziness. After all, you want to sleep, and when you sleep, you are lazy. Even if it's an old man, who wouldn't want to steal half a day's leisure from Fusham? Fei recalled the previous battle between the undead Douluo and the evil god Douluo. It seemed that it ended in such a flash, and it seemed that the title Douluo level battle had no special features. But now it's hard to hear after Douluo's words. Fei understood what it means. To be a real and absolute opponent that should not be easily provoked. Then why did evil god Douluo leave this token to me? What is the function of leaving it to me? Fei also fell into deep doubts about the effect of this thing told by immortal Douluo, but it can definitely be seen that this thing has a great effect on Fei. What Douluo said in his mouth can comprehend the field called laziness. Then immortal Douluo, what is written on the token in your hand? Fei can be sure that he absolutely does not recognize the handwriting on this token. It seems that none of them are characters in this world, nor are they pictographic, nor can we see any unique traces from such a simple token. Greedy. Yi Lanshan tugged at Fei. Don't you think about the style of teacher immortal? What is the other meaning of loving gold soul coins? That's not love of money. Simple depth, isn't it greedy to discuss? The reminder of Yi Lanshan's words immediately cleared up all Fei's thoughts. Yes, if you love gold soul coins so much, you must love money. If you love money to the depth, it will officially become greedy. Question mark? Immortal Douluo nodded. That's right. The domain that this old man symbolizes is a greedy domain. As for the effect of the old man's domain, anyway, he is not as perverted as evil god Douluo. Compared with the more powerful, it is still in the ability of immortality, although the old man does not want to admit it, but the fact is like this. So you should have a general understanding of the true meaning of the token that evil god Douluo left for you, right? Immortal Douluo asked Fei with a slight smile. Could it be that evil god Douluo wants me to learn this laziness domain? Or does he want me to really use the laziness domain? Fei can only imagine this. After all, he can't think about other things. But what kind of power can be based on a small token? This may seem surprising. Well, that's right, that's what it means. Undead Douluo nodded. According to the will on this token, as long as you are not afraid of hard work, you can learn this lazy field completely. If you are too stupid, there is no other way. End of this chapter. Chapter 113 Domain. What kind of power should the domain be? What Fei can know is that there are many powerful martial spirits in the world of Douluo Continent, and soul masters with powerful martial spirits can release even more powerful soul skills after absorbing a more powerful spirit ring. Undoubtedly, the soul ring's enhancement degree to the soul master itself is very high. But what about the power in this field? Yi Lanshan stood aside and said unhurriedly before undead Douluo spoke, the power of the domain lies in summarizing a force different from one's own soul power, and then using one's own perception to observe this power. However, it is undeniable that the strength of the domain power is absolute, and the influence on other people is also inevitable, such as this is even more so in the lazy domain of the evil god Douluo. Well, what Yi Lanshan said is correct. It is a long process for soul masters to comprehend the domain, and this long process requires hard training, but after you have this token, you can practice and comprehend it. Domain will get twice the result with half the effort. Of course, the token in the old man's hand is also for you. In the future, I will slowly tell you how to understand the power of the domain from this token, and how to use the domain strength. Do you understand the domain? Ji-Fei subconsciously glanced at the token he was holding tightly in his hand. I'm afraid it's not such a simple thing. Hahaha, of course. How can it be easy to become stronger? After all, the only way for a soul master to become stronger is to comprehend the power of the field. Immortal Douluo glanced at Ziyu and the others. Their history is different from the two of you, and there is a reason for helping them improve their soul power. It's not really a use, but simply wants to get something from them. Some practical benefits, but now it's okay. The old guy of the evil god is gone. Taizan has not been found, and the task is completely unable to be completed. There must be a lot of bonuses for raising such a high soul power. Ji-Fei felt a little funny. It turned out that he could also obtain practical benefits from here. It is really powerful. He is indeed the titled Douluo who loves gold soul coins the most. Every bit of it reveals that I just want gold soul coins posture. Okay, just do what you two have to do. After these few absorptions are completed, we should return and start a steady and long-term study of the deeper level of soul power fusion. After all, in this aspect there is no shortcut to take. Besides, you have already taken all the shortcuts you can take, so I will find a shortcut for you somewhere else. Undead Douluo turned and left, wondering what other unique ways to obtain a large amount of gold soul coins were in his mind. Ji-Fei glanced at Ji Lanshan. Go out for a stroll? It is not a very good time for Ji-Fei to practice meditation. After all, absorbing soul power for a period of time and urging the second martial soul to destroy the crown for a long time is a huge consumption for him. Taking advantage of this time to adjust is a very normal process. Yi Lanshan nodded. Yes, the environment here is very good. Compared with the long canyon outside, it is definitely another wonderful world. After staying in Holy Soul Village for a long time, it seems that I have completely forgotten that I belong to the wonderful world. What kind of mentality should I have to face cultivation? Ji-Fei walked slowly in front. He took a look at Ziyu, Yan, Hu Lina, Zhu Jiangxing, Huo Rao and others. There were strands of unusual soul power flowing in them at this moment. Ziyu's soul power fed back to Ji-Fei's feeling was that he had incomparable strength, as if all sharp-edged objects in front of him could easily pierce through them like thin paper. On the other hand, Yan's fiery red soul power unparalleled symbolizes a real violent power. This kind of power is like a burning flame that cannot be extinguished. The soul power gradually emerging from Hu Lina's body gave Ji-Fei a special introverted feeling. This kind of soul power is very unique, as if the opening and closing are natural, and it is the same as the charming Hu Lina when they fought for the first time. It's completely different, as if it's a different person. The first feeling of Zhu Jiangxing's soul power is sharpness. He has the sense of sharpness of a sword martial soul, as if he himself is an extremely sharp sword. The white soul power that slowly emerges from his body is the softened sword energy, which represents a powerful existence. His soul power has improved very quickly and has reached level. Although it is a bit high compared to Ziyu's level, the power after solidification is not terrifying. In fact, Huo Rao's soul power and martial soul are similar to Yan's in certain aspects, but Huo Rao's soul power does not give Ji-Fei the feeling of being so straightforward. From the previous battle, Fei could see that her fire leopard martial soul was almost blessed with fire attribute and possessed a fast speed, which was the most commendable. And if Ji-Fei guessed correctly, Huo Rao's fire leopard martial soul is definitely a mutated type of flame. Otherwise, how could the martial soul of the Flame Lord Yihan not be able to suppress Huo Rao's flame? This is a very thought-provoking thing. In short, it is like this. Maybe they didn't feel so amazing when they first entered the Wuhandian Academy, but after the baptism of the evil god Spring and the improvement of their soul power this time, they can be regarded as a real group of people. True genius. Now they still have the level constraint that they have not obtained the spirit ring, and it is time to truly show their cultivation speed and true talent after a few of them have truly obtained the breakthrough of the spirit ring. As Undead Douluo said to them when he came here, there will never be a shortage of geniuses in this world, and this world does not laugh for a person. You think you are a genius. Maybe your genius is different in the eyes of others. The usual shit doesn't make a huge difference. The cultivation of a soul master is like this, it never ends. Until the end, I felt the real despair from God. Of course they couldn't understand the last sentence, but Fei could see the sense of loss and helplessness in undead Douluo's eyes when he said it. End of this chapter. Chapter 114 Leave. 3 days later, Ziyu and the others completed the absorption of the soul power, perhaps because Zhu Jiangxing and Huora were the slowest to absorb and digest this soul power because of the inflated soul power. In the past 3 days, Fei has also asked undead Douluo about soul master cultivation knowledge that he has not learned before. When he is in doubt, undead Douluo will give him a rough range of cultivation, and Yi Lanshan will also do the same. Give Fei a few words to wake him up, which undoubtedly made Fei feel more relaxed during the process of soul master training and meditation. Yi Lanshan is very powerful, really very powerful. Fei feels that she is not weaker than undead Douluo in terms of understanding between Wuhan soul master and soul power. Fei can even feel Yi Lanshan in some specific applications. Even more powerful than undead Douluo. It's really amazing. I didn't expect my soul power to actually reach level. When Zhu Jiangxing woke up, he felt a terrifying soul power surging in his body, and he couldn't even believe it was real. His soul power had suddenly increased from level to level in just a few days. 10th level. This kind of speed is beyond his imagination in his life. If he knew that it took him more than a year to cultivate a little more than 4th level of soul power, since the innate full soul power of the awakened soul power. I don't know if it's because the Wind Sword Sect's way of cultivating soul masters is wrong, or because staying in the Wind Sword Sect is not so effective for his own soul power cultivation. Unfortunately, if I break through the 27th level of soul power before and then absorb the soul power of this evil god spring, I feel that I can reach and th level of soul power in one go. It is definitely not a problem, but there is no way without breaking through. It's a pity that I didn't absorb the next spirit ring. Ziyu shook her head. It could be seen that he was a little depressed. Her soul power had reached level before, and although she had successfully reached level now, compared to Zhu Jiangxing and Huoro, who had improved at one time, he is still far behind in level 6 spirit power. Brother Ziyu, if you think this way, you are completely wrong. Do you really think that the only way you can absorb the power of the evil god spring is to increase your soul power by 2 levels? Fei smiled slightly. They had already left the palace of the evil god Douluo and began to return to Jia City. Immortal Douluo needed to inform the Wuhan Hall in Jia City that Taizan had not been found before they could return to Wuhandian Academy. If it is an ordinary soul master, it is inevitable that they will be punished. After all, this mission is not easy. Undying Douluo accepted this mission, but did not complete it. Obviously this is Undying Douluo's own fault, but he is a level 98 title Douluo, who would make fun of himself. Moreover, Fei feels that undead Douluo's strength will definitely not be as simple as that of a simple 98 level title Douluo. When it comes to other title Douluo, they are also calm, and he and the evil god Douluo are too. Conversations between individuals are often about living for 10 years, or a series of things such as 10 years ago, which is not simple from this point of view. And from the perspective of the laziness that immortal Douluo explained to Fei, this is almost an invincible force. The phantom of the scene that is fed back by itself has the full power of the scene. Think about it this way, if you think about it, it's really scary. So would it be easy for an undead Douluo who dared to fight a ruthless person like the evil god Douluo directly? Surely not. If you don't have 2 brushes, you definitely dare not say such a thing, right? Oh. What's the matter? Ziyu looked at Fei suspiciously. From what he said before, he could roughly tell that Fei's own soul power is much higher than his own. It can also be seen from the previous Wuhandian Academy entrance examination. Afterwards, with Fei's own admission, he really knew that Fei's own soul power was at level 24, but now when he looked at Fei again, he seemed to be looking at such a cloud of fog. It's hard to tell what kind of level his own soul power level has reached. There was also Yi Lanshan who was holding Ji Fei's arm. Ziyu felt extremely fearful, but he couldn't hear what Yi Lanshan said about Yi Lanshan's martial soul should be an auxiliary martial soul. Right, my Crescent Moonblade martial soul is a very powerful martial soul no matter what. How do you feel a little afraid of an auxiliary martial soul? This is very strange. No, it should be said to be very weird. Mr. Undead told me, and Lanshan when you were collecting the soul power. This time, the soul power we absorbed after the evil god spring is stored in our body. Once we get the next soul ring, we can fully use it. To use the soul power absorbed in the evil god spring before, that is to say, the benefits of absorbing soul power this time will be fully displayed after we break through. Ji Fei is also very fortunate to have a teacher like Immortal Douluo to help them cultivate. Undoubtedly, from another level, Immortal Douluo has brought them to a level that their peers can't match at all. Although Immortal Douluo said later that their cultivation speed will be restricted in the next year, but no one can directly break through the 5th or 6th level of soul power within a year, right? Absolutely not. Moreover, the improved 5 or 6 levels of soul power are just the benefits of absorbing the evil god spring right now, and the benefits that will be slowly revealed in the future will definitely subvert everyone. Is that so? I really can't believe that there is such a magical power in this world. Ziyu took a deep breath. This simply surpasses the knowledge about soul master cultivation that the teacher taught before. A soul master can actually use himself as a device for storing soul power. Little children, there is still a lot of knowledge about soul master cultivation that you don't know. I will instill it in you slowly in the future, as long as you are not afraid of hard work. Immortal Douluo walked in front and looked back. Ji Fei and the others were filled with an inexplicable emotion. Didn't we think that 7 of us ran amok on the continent back then? And the 10 commandments? Of course we are not afraid of hard work. Ji Fei and others shouted together and replied. The voice echoed back and forth against the cliff, and the voice became louder and louder. Okay, you don't have to worry about knocking down the cliff. Anyone who decides to do something like this will do it. The old man is looking at the result. It's not bad. You are very in line with the old man style this time, so I won't punish you. Immortal Fighter Luo said slowly. End of this chapter. Chapter 115 Request for a branch hall of the Wuhan Hall. The second branch hall of Jia City, Wuhan Hall. Respected title Douluo Man, please agree to our request. The students you teach must be able to fight with the students of Jia City Wuhan Academy. You see, our palace master has disappeared, and he has us all. The soul masters cultivated by the branch halls of the soul palace were taken away, and this happened just in time. In the magnificent room, Immortal Douluo leaned on a chair and sat bored, raised his blood-red eyes slightly, and looked at a soul master at the soul emperor level in front of him, while Ji Fei and the others stood beside him. It was a little overwhelming there too. The reason why they came to the Jia City branch hall of the Wuhan temple was very simple. That is, what Undead Douluo said needed to be explained to the branch hall. Taizan, the master of the second level branch hall of Jia City, had completely disappeared. If not, then they will return directly to Wuhandian Academy. But I didn't expect that the deputy hall master of the branch hall of the Wuhan temple, that is, the strong man at the level of the Soul Emperor in front of him, suddenly asked them to exchange battles with the students of the Jia City Soul Master Academy as the Soul Masters of the Wuhan temple. What kind of thing is this? But thinking about it, just as the deputy hall master said, before Taizan left, he took away almost all the soul masters from the Jia City branch of the Wuhan Hall, and the remaining soul masters were basically high-level soul masters. You can't fight with a soul master who is just not as good as a soul master in the world of soul master cultivation, right? That's too hard to convince, right? And in the eyes of outsiders, wouldn't that just give Wuhandian a deceitful name? In this case, it will be extremely difficult for the future development of this branch hall of the Wuhan temple in Jia City, and it may even be forced to become a third level branch hall due to slow regression. Exchange battle? It's just a Jia City Wuhan Academy, how dare they challenge the Wuhan Hall? Ji Fei asked with some doubts. The Soul Emperor smiled awkwardly. Our place is different. The Soul Masters here are all compared by strength, even the Wuhan Temple is no exception. Our branch hall in Jia City can develop so well. Speed is also inseparable from this. That is to say, you can listen to whoever is good. Fei was stunned. Isn't this too weird? Who can listen to whom? And looking at it like this, the branch hall of Wuhandian often wins, right? In that case, the other party still maintains such an agreement. I really don't know if it is stupid or outrageous. This is also the only chance for them to stand up, but under normal circumstances we just voluntarily recruit students from their colleges to join our spirit hall. On the surface they are well-known second-level branch halls, but in fact they are still at the point where some third-level branch halls and local soul masters are anxious about each other. Immortal Douluo said slowly, that is to say, if they win, your branch hall will not be able to accept students from their academy to enter the Wuhan hall. It shouldn't be, after all, these things should be voluntary by their students, right? Question mark? Shouldn't a place with rich learning resources like Wuhandian be the place that every soul master yearns for? Your Majesty, you are right, but the agreement is like this. We have no other way, and we really want to use the means of Wuhan Palace to solve this matter, but this is the fortress location of the Star Luo Empire after all. For the sake of this is the only way we can continue to develop and maintain relationships. If we suppress them with power, the group of Soul Master mentors and even the deans of your Soul Master Academy may not know how to cry about their unequal encounters. Fei could tell that the strong man at the level of the Soul Emperor was on the verge of crying. He could tell that he was suffering from eating Coptis chinenses, but they couldn't decide anything. After all, undead Douluo was still here and asking them to participate in the battle as the Wuhandian side. This is a bit weird, no matter how you look at it. The immortal Douluo who was sitting there didn't seem to care much about this matter. What is the level of the Soul Masters in the opponent's exchange battle? Possible. The original bleak eyes of the Deputy Palace Master of the Soul Emperor suddenly flickered, and his heart sank. This matter definitely has a chance. After all, this Majesty is also a mentor of the Wuhan Palace Academy. The highest level of soul power is 21 age. The other party is also 7 people, and the minimum spirit power is 10 years old, and the configuration of the spirit ring is basically a standard century-old spirit ring. This kind of power is already pretty good for such a soul master. To be able to have such a level in an ordinary academy is already considered a very good existence. You are so old. Immortal Douluo thought for a while. This is a bit difficult. You see, my students are all children under 10 years old, and there are several who have just awakened their martial souls, but just that's all for a year. I can't bear to let them go to fight with the soul masters who have cultivated for so long. Seeing undead Douluo's heartbroken expression, Fei suddenly thought of something, and whispered something to Yi Lanshan beside him. The Deputy Master of the Soul Emperor is obviously also in a bit of a dilemma. He really can't find other soul masters now, and the required age cannot be exceeded. There are really not many soul powers that can reach the 20th level of soul power originally. There must have been quite a few of them in the branch hall, but they were all taken away with Taezian, and now there is no standard soul master at all. We need to add more money. Undead Douluo said slowly, such a sentence that made everyone mistaken. We need to add gold soul coins. The Deputy Hall Master of the Soul Emperor was obviously frightened, and he couldn't recall the meaning of this sentence for a long time. Need extra money. Add money. What's the matter? Isn't it right for the students taught by the old man to give you such a big task? Isn't it right to add some money? Is it possible that in this era you can do whatever you want? Don't worry, as long as the golden soul coins are in place, the old man, it won't be a problem for these few students to kill the soul masters in the entire Soul Master Academy, and even if you pay more, it's not a problem for the old man to solve this matter himself. This, Ziyu was stunned. He naturally wanted to make a move. After all, he was the Soul Master of Wuhan Hall, but he never thought that undead Douluo was such a casual titled fighter. If an ordinary titled Douluo encountered such a request, he would definitely refuse it directly, right? But undead Douluo's brain circuit seems to have been beyond their comprehension, and it is even more so now. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116. Fei and others once again refreshed undead Douluo's understanding of the importance of gold soul coins, and this time it even developed to the point that, as long as a large amount of gold soul coins were paid to undead Douluo, then it would be considered as if undead Douluo would go all out. I'm afraid it's a very common thing, right? This is a sure thing. Okay, as long as your majesty is willing to help us, our branch of the Wuhan temple in Jia City will definitely pay you a large amount of gold and soul coins to satisfy you. The deputy palace master of the Soul Emperor breathed a sigh of relief. If the matter could be settled properly by simply taking out a part of the gold soul coins, then they would be very happy to do it. After all, Jia City is an extremely wealthy city place. Jia City is absolutely one of the largest large cities in the entire Star Luo Empire. Of course, the large size here does not necessarily refer to the largest city area, but the most affluent city, because it is near the snow-covered city. Some unique treasures in Zuayu that help soul masters to practice are undoubtedly the most popular and expensive, which also indirectly promotes the development of Jia City. That's good. If that's the case, there won't be any problems. But what do you want to do? The old man will come forward to solve this matter directly, or let the students like the old man share their experience in fighting soul masters with them. Undead Douluo doesn't like trouble very much, so don't waste too many means for things that can be solved quickly for him. The deputy master of the Soul Emperor seemed to be in a bit of a dilemma. He glanced at Fei and the others, and from immortal Douluo, he also learned that none of these children were over 10 years old, and some of them had just awakened. Wuhan has not been a soul master for a long time, but the strange thing is that he can't tell what the soul power level of these children is. At this moment, he can't help but murmur in his heart, no matter what he says, he is still a level 63 Soul Emperor level powerhouse, right? Why can't they even see through the soul power of a few dolls? Something weird, or is it because the soul power of these dolls is so low that they can't even see it? Your Majesty, do you have any thoughts? The deputy palace master of the Soul Emperor can only let immortal Douluo give his advice. After all, he doesn't know Fei and the others, and immortal Douluo is also their teacher. The strength of these children and their martial spirit undead Douluo clearly knows the most about his abilities. In this case, asking undead Douluo for his thoughts is undoubtedly the most effective solution. If you think it will be difficult to convince the public, then the best way is to let the old man students take action, but obviously this will not prevent future troubles. If you are not afraid of being difficult to convince the public, then the old man will personally take action to give this matter to the public. It's not impossible to solve it. Immortal Douluo directly gave such two paths before the deputy palace master of the Soul Emperor, and how to choose is his own business anyway. Undead Douluo's backlash was perfect. The deputy palace master of the Soul Emperor hesitated for a moment. For them, if they want to continue to develop in Jia City after the division of the palace, they must not be too forceful, otherwise they will definitely do the opposite to the contrary. There are also many talented soul masters emerging in Jia Soul Master Academy. Almost all of these soul masters have awakened their martial souls and displayed their cultivation talents during the long process of cultivation. One is that birds of a feather flock together, and people are divided into groups, but they will also absorb such young soul masters who have a promising future in cultivation. Your Majesty, please agree to come down to the exchange battle with Jia Soul Master Academy. The reason for bothering your Majesty this time is because the Hall Master took away all the Soul Masters in our branch hall before he disappeared, so there is no Soul Master to fight. But fundamentally, our branch hall in Jia City will never be afraid of the Soul Master Academy. They have not won victory for such a long time, so as long as we survive this time, we can still rely on our own strength to make them invincible. There is something to say. The Vice Hall Master of the Soul Emperor said this very forcefully and completely publicized the aura that the Wuhan Palace should have. I have to say that their solution to the boundary of Jia City is indeed very good. It can not only promote the strength of the branch halls of the Wuhan Temple, let alone the main hall of the Wuhan Palace, but also completely avoid the embarrassing situation of the so-called Shangao Emperor Yuan. After all, Jia City is still the trump card of the Star Luo Empire. Well, that's right. Now that you've said that, the old man will follow suit. Immortal Douluo glanced at Fei and the others meaningfully. Did you hear that? Level 21 soul power is also 7 personally. I don't ask too much from you. I just need to be beautiful. Don't kill me, otherwise. Immortal Douluo rubbed his hands and stared closely at Fei and the others with his eyes that seemed to release golden light. Well, isn't teacher undead bullying others too much? After all, our strength is not on the same level as this. Otherwise, you can let the 6th brother and the 7th sister take action. Let's take a look at it. Not bad. Hulina's crystal clear eyes reminded Yi Lanshan intentionally or unintentionally, but Yi Lanshan just frowned slightly and didn't seem to understand Hulina's meaning. Undead Douluo shook his head. How can this work? You are a team, and 7 people are a big family. How can it be possible to separate 2 people? What if you are an opponent who is not at the same level? Just take a shot, but don't kill me. The deputy hall master of the Soul Emperor was very surprised. He couldn't see the specific strength of these children, but from the few words just now, he seemed to be able to feel the disdain and helplessness from these children. And this other killer sounds too weird, doesn't it? How many children can beat a soul master who has practiced for more than 10 years? Maybe there is no such possibility. But it's really disgusting to think about it. A level 21 soul master dared to challenge him. If it wasn't for the absence of a new generation of soul masters, it would definitely make it look good. By the way, when will we communicate? Immortal Douluo thought for a while. It's better not to waste too much time. Your Majesty, it's this afternoon. The Vice Palace Master of the Soul Emperor replied. Then there is no need to wait for anything. I was thinking that, if it is tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, then I will have to do it myself. After all, I'm very busy. Undead Douluo yawned and waited for Fei. The man said, you guys also take a rest. Don't really beat him then. End of this chapter. Chapter 117. They are quite strong. In my opinion, the biggest role of the Soul Master's meditation should be determined by the Soul Master's flow route of soul power and the process of absorbing soul power. For example, I only rely on meditation now. The special throughput power possessed by human beings can completely absorb soul power independently without going to my deep meditation. Sitting on the spot, Fei began to think about what kind of resonance could be formed by combining his current state of soul power and his own level. As for the exchange match with the so-called Jia Soul Master Academy in the afternoon, Fei himself didn't take it to heart at all. Didn't the Deputy Master of the Soul Emperor also say that the opponent with the highest soul power also it's just a level 21 Great Soul Master, and any random ZU can solve it? However, Fei could also tell that Undead Douluo actually wanted them to have a real contest with each other this time, to see the relationship between them and those ordinary students of the Soul Master Academy. Just how big a lead has been. Although only Fei and Yi Lanshan among the 7 of them have the strength of the 2 Ring Great Soul Masters, it is undeniable that the promotion of ZU and others in the Evil God Spring this time is definitely at a terrifying level, and even Fei even can't predict what level they can grow to. After all, absorbing the power in the Evil God Spring depends on one's own character. They can absorb the power to make their own soul power reach the 20th level. From this point of view alone, it is not easy. Involuntarily, Fei began to delve into the way of meditation again. The way of meditation that Fei studied was naturally not an ordinary meditation for the masses, but a way of meditation that belonged to his first chaotic martial soul. As I said before, Fei's chaotic villain can absorb soul power autonomously, so controlling every time node is what Fei needs to do most now. Involuntarily, Fei thought of the token left by the evil god Douluo, and the things about the domain that the undead Douluo told him. It goes without saying, and the field of laziness is more like a perverted avatar technique, and this avatar technique can restore % of the power, as long as there is a desire in one's heart. Lazy. After all, people are not sages, and desires are even more so. Time passed quickly, and in a blink of an eye, Fei and the others were woken up by Undead Douluo. When Fei opened his eyes, Yi Lanshan next to him had just opened his eyes, and a surge of energy surged around her body. There is a surging breath of life, and it can be seen that she is also practicing seriously in this short period of time. As for Yi Lanshan's own strength, Ji-Fei is of course still in an unknown situation, but presumably he should be able to get a glimpse of it this time. After all, the team exchange battle itself is not about the cooperation of everyone in the Soul Master team. This point is very important. Undoubtedly, this is also a good opportunity for the 7 of them to get to know each other in actual combat. Of course, there will be many benefits for future battles. Okay, then we will be led by the Deputy Hall Master to the Soul Arena, where you will fight with Jill Soul Master Academy. What is that? Immortal Douluo looked at Ji-Fei. Ji-Fei will arrange the battle on the field. After all, Ji-Fei among you is completely capable of a control system Soul Master's layout for the battle. Of course, Ji-Fei, don't be too overbearing. What are you worried about? You can understand the meaning of the old man's words, right? Look here. Here. Immortal Douluo rubbed his fingers. The meaning was even more obvious. If you make any mistakes during the battle, you know what kind of punishment you should accept. Golden Soul Coin is first, of course. Can you take advantage of it? It's hard to tell when the car goes back. Ziyu came over and raised her hand to pat Ji-Fei's shoulder with a dignified look. 6th brother, I've worked hard on you, but it's okay. It's good to exercise. Of course, if Ji-Fei is punished, you can just run back. After all, you are a team. As your mentor, I naturally have the right to supervise you. That's the same sentence. Don't kill me, otherwise you will be killed. Accept those punishments that even this old man doesn't want to use. Immortal Douluo's blood-colored eyes can sometimes convey a real sense of trembling from the heart. Such a feeling will make people shudder and make people dare not defy the will of this title Douluo. Of course, from Ji-Fei's point of view, such a thing would only happen when Immortal Douluo saw the golden soul coin being snatched away by others. Mr. Immortal, can us girls not have to run back anymore? And it's fine if you let me and Huora run away, but Kimoi Lanshan is your precious apprentice. How can you have the heart to let Lanshan run with us? Hulina stared at undead Douluo with doubts in the midst of bewilderment. Well, it's all the same. It's all the same. You see, if you cooperate perfectly to complete the battle, everything will be fine. Although the old man loves money, he is definitely not a stingy person. As long as you finish well this time, old man hire a soul beast car for you. Immortal Douluo patted himself on the chest very seriously, as if he had spent all his money. Ji-Fei looked at the Vice Hall Master of the Soul Emperor. Vice Hall Master, I want to ask, how much gold soul coins did you pay our teacher? Don't say you haven't paid yet. We still know our teacher's character. He will never do things without great benefits, and he will not be so abnormal. 1. Gold soul coins. The Deputy Palace Master of the Soul Emperor glanced at Undying Douluo, and seeing that Undying Douluo turned around and walked out as if fleeing, he also took a slow breath. Gold soul coins are not a lot for a second level branch hall like them, and this is such a wealthy jewel city, so they will not be stingy with these gold soul coins. 10,000. A battle is gold soul coins. Ji-Fei smashed his mouth and suddenly turned around and said to Yi Lanshan and the others, otherwise, we will just eat and drink with Teacher Undead in the future. I'm afraid that all the delicacies of mountains and seas can be enjoyed without interruption. Yi Lanshan also nodded. Well, that's right. This is just a glimpse of the teacher's money, but the place where the teacher lives is dozens of times more luxurious than the palace of the evil god Douluo. And just like what Teacher Undead said, he raised a huge and very powerful spirit beast. End of this chapter. Chapter 189-039. I'm scared. Are you guys going or not? The old man is getting impatient. Then what kind of Deputy Palace Master? Why don't you hurry up and lead the way? When Ji-Fei and the others were listening to Yi Lanshan's talk about Undying Douluo's rich family background, Undying Douluo, who had gone out, suddenly turned back, poked his head out and questioned angrily. PFFT. Hulina laughed suddenly. Teacher, I always feel that a title Douluo like you is really different from those fierce and angry title Douluo, and you are so young. I really can't believe that you are a title Douluo. And no matter how you look at it, he seems to have the same thoughts as our peers. Ji-Fei glanced at Hulina in surprise. After all, this ordinary girl who doesn't look so amazing has a lot of unique thoughts and ideas. It would be great if Anshan had a similar personality to her. Ahem, ahem, I know what's on your mind. Yi Lanshan suddenly twisted Jifei's arm firmly. Don't think about anything, my character is just like this. Jifei quickly waved his hand. Yes, that's right. Undead Douluo said slowly, the old man is getting old. Can it be possible that he can't be naive? It's tiring to always look like an unfathomable expert, and no one will give you gold soul coins, right? In that case, why do you do this? Are you making trouble with yourself? The deputy palace master of the Soul Emperor also admired it a little. This may be the character that a titled Douluo should have. It means that the gold soul coin is easy to use. Everyone, go this way, and I will lead you and your majesty to the soul arena, which has been arranged for a long time. Presumably, the group of Jill Soul Master Academy is already waiting there at this time. Maybe they are also watching other people. It's a human race. The deputy palace master of the Soul Emperor walked while guiding. Immortal Douluo followed behind, followed by Jifei and others in a group. There was no such thing as queuing. Only the cold team relationship would care about these things. Where is the soul arena? Is it very powerful? Why is the battle going on there? Jifei was a little puzzled. His understanding of this world was limited to his third younger brother becoming a god and soul beasts. Spirit fighting field. Immortal Douluo walked slowly in front and said at the same time, it's the place where soul masters fight. It's a place where teams and individuals fight with martial arts. It seems to be quite profitable. In the future, I will see open one at a glance, and you will be gold medal fighters. A very good idea. Hearing Undead Douluo's informal explanation, Yi Lanshan said to Jifei in a slow voice, the meaning of the existence of the fighting field is to provide a place for soul masters to fight, and at the same time, give them the honor to participate in the soul master. Of course, the soul masters represented by each level also have generous rewards and point auctions. Symbolically, many soul masters will choose to go to such a place to prove their strength. Jifei was relieved. It's a place similar to a duel field, but the two sides are fighting with soul masters, so there should be some soul masters to watch the battle, right? Ziyu nodded. That's right. I have been to the soul fighting arena a few times, and I followed senior to watch the battles between those soul masters. It can be said to be very cruel, or to really crush the opponent and let the opponent admit defeat, or fight to the death. As long as there is one left in the end, you can declare victory. It is not a good place. Undead Douluo yawned. So this time you can only use your absolute strength to overwhelm the other party to admit defeat. After all, if you kill the guy from the Soul Master Academy, it will be very bad for this entrustment. Even with the old man it doesn't make much difference if you do it yourself. So now you know why the old man told you not to kill me, right? Of course, this is just one of the most simple purposes. Immortal Douluo continued. The real purpose is to let you get in touch with the real and open battles between Soul Master teams. The main reason we came to Jia City this time is to improve your soul power. Soul Masters fight, then there are two important situations. The first one is the same age and the same soul power, so what you are competing for is each person's use of their own martial souls and the way they cooperate to fight. It's hard to do, so the old man can only help you take another path, another way. There is no limit to crushing the soul power of the opponent at the same age. It is such a seemingly simple route that is actually more difficult to complete than the fighting method, and it seems to others that this is putting the cart before the horse. After all, everyone's soul strength is improving. If you reach a level like Title Douluo, then what you compete with each other is the use of your own martial soul and the decision of the fighting style. There is not much I can teach you, but I can guarantee that your respective soul ring configurations are absolutely top notch. Of course, it is also under the circumstances that each of you can bear. Maybe I will discuss it with you now. Some actual combat experience is too incomprehensible, so it is better to quickly improve your strength. When your own strength has been raised to a certain level, any combat experience will be a kind of constraint. But this does not mean that fighting experience doesn't matter, it's just that your respective ability to accept is different now. There was no soul fighting field in the old man's time, but it is very good to know this place through the old man. It can be said that it provides a very good training place for soul masters who are not very good at fighting. So when you gradually, after using your own rapidly increasing soul power, you will also enter here to fight and kill. Of course, at that time, there is naturally no limit. Not losing is the only and necessary condition. Fei obviously didn't expect that undead Douluo had planned such a long-term training plan, and this plan seemed to be contrary to the usual training method, but it was definitely a novel training attempt. This kind of attempt may not be so smooth, but it is certain that it will become stronger in the end. Even now it is considered a strong person. End of this chapter. Chapter 119. After leaving the branch hall of the Wuhan Temple, he formally entered Jia City. The deputy head of the Soul Emperor in front is very fast. He seems to be very eager to rush to the soul fighting field in Jia City, but at the same time, he will restrain his sense of urgency a little bit. After all, the person behind him is the title, Douluo Powerhouse. Moreover, he still felt more or less at a loss in his heart. Can these 8 or 9-year-old students really beat the opponent's 7-member team with the highest level of 21 spirit power? It is really inexplicable. Tense up. He couldn't see the soul power of Fei and the 7 of them. He could only figure out that the title Douluo Powerhouse behind him had covered them up. Maybe he just wanted to feel more at ease? When Fei and his group arrived in Jia City before, they didn't stop to take a good look at the customs that belonged to Jia City, but now they can watch the surrounding scenes while they are on their way. Yi Lanshan next to Fei didn't seem to care much about these things. Yi Lanshan was simply on her way, but Fei looked around. Indeed, this Jia City is indeed a rich place, and the soul masters walking on this street are either dressed in gorgeous clothes or they are talking about deals. Compared with Fei and Yi Lanshan who were behind undead Douluo, Ziyu, Hulina and Yan who were parallel behind him seemed very ordinary. They didn't look down on these seemingly novel things around them. After all, they have lived in the Wuhan Temple since they were young, and these things can be regarded as some novelties, not things that make them stop and stay. Zhu Jiangxing and Huorao should be the most active members of their group. They have never been to Jia City, and they have never seen these novelties in the snowy area, so they just looked at them a few times. However, he didn't stop. After all, the Soul Emperor's deputy hall master who led the way in front of him was still very fast. It would be bad if he lost his attention inadvertently. Look, there is a soul fighting field in Jia City over there. The speed of the deputy head of the Soul Emperor in front slowed down in vain. He pointed to a tall building in the distance while walking and said, from his amazing eyes, it can be seen that the fighting spirit field in Jia City seems to be there are so many differences. Fei himself noticed a long time ago that among the scattered houses around, this huge oval-shaped towering building is really unique. The huge fighting spirit field standing there is like a roaring monster. Usually, it opens its sharp teeth and devours the lives of some soul masters who don't know what to do. The soul arena will also be the place where you fight in the future. Of course, it won't be long after you go back and recover for a few months. To help you obtain the spirit ring, the old man will bring you to the soul arena to hone. Of course, well, if you want to register here, you can. After all, fighting is one of the best ways to solidify a soul master's inflated soul power, and it's also the most effective one. Of course, today's main purpose is to communicate with the 7-member team of Jia Soul Master Academy. During the daytime, the number of people in the fighting arena seems to be small, and there is no one on the duel stage. It may be because during the day, the soul masters have more or less things that need to be solved by themselves. Maybe it is only when night falls. A large number of soul masters will be gathered for soul fighting. Fei followed into the soul arena, and what caught his eyes was a long scroll-like stele, extending from the south to the north with a length of nearly meters, with ant-sized names engraved densely on it. This is a record of winning the honor, right? No, how could the honor be written in small ant-like fonts? It should be dead, right? A soul master who died in the soul fighting field. Fei stared at this, as if the stele is as magnificent as a long scroll, and the name on the stele seems to be enlisted in Fei's words, shining with the glory of his own death. That's right. These are the soul masters who died in the fighting spirit field. These steles record the number of soul masters who died in the past few years from south to north. The deputy head of the Soul Emperor explained. For the soul fighting the existence of places like this field, our spirit hall has always been driven by suppression. After all, the meaning of their existence is not the same. Different? Ji-Fei was slightly moved. Yi Lanshan on the side tugged at Ji-Fei, and the voice rang in Ji-Fei's mind. The establishment of this soul fighting field is basically based on the situation of the empire. The purpose is to recruit some soul masters who can submit to the empire as their combat power. In recent years, perhaps because of the change of the Pope of the Wuhan Temple, the Wuhan Temple has changed its previous neutral attitude and has begun to gradually shift to the other end of the balance. It started to tilt, just like what you recalled. The power possessed by the spirit hall is indeed irresistible to the two great empires, but that's all limited to the combat power of high-level title Douluo. The soul masters of this era are already with it. It doesn't look like it, at least in terms of combat power. The quantity is not the quality. Ji-Fei glanced at Yi Lanshan in surprise, and at the same time, passed a message to Yi Lanshan. I didn't see it. You know more than me. It's just a statement, based on your memory, but these things have nothing to do with the two of us. But if you want, the status quo can be changed. As long as you want, then you only need to tell Teacher Undead. He will contact the power that belongs to you. But okay, you see that the other party is already waiting for us. Let's face the next battle. Ji-Fei interrupted Yi Lanshan's continuation and immediately shifted his attention to a group of soul masters wearing the same academy costumes and earring, and there were still some people on the viewing platform in the distance. Interesting. Ji-Fei stared at the guys on the viewing platform and smiled slightly. It seems that he knew that Taizan, the head of the branch hall of the Wuhan Palace, took away the new generation of fighting power of the Wuhan Palace when he left. So I feel this time, Jil Soul Master Academy is sure to win. So many Soul Masters are anxious to come here to watch the battle. Create an image that Jil Soul Master Academy will never give in. But smart people are always misled by cleverness. Are you preparing for us if you don't end your campaign in disguise? After all, isn't dealing with the little Soul Masters of Jil Soul Master Academy like beating babies? Of course, these are a group of bad babies who are not very obedient. End of this chapter. Chapter 120. The food is not good. The group of people in front belong to Jil Soul Master Academy. According to our knowledge, there are 7 people, 5 men and 2 women. The highest soul power is a 21st level soul master named Zhu Shuyan. It seems that he is about to participate in the assessment of the intermediate soul master academy. Soul Masters, if they can participate in the Intermediate Soul Master Academy with this level of soul power, they will be reused more or less, and it can be seen that they came prepared this time. After all, for this time, Jil Soul Master, I don't know how long the academy has been waiting. The Deputy Palace Master of the Soul Emperor slowly began to explain. Although the words that came out of his mouth were meant to be praised, they were more or less completely dismissive, but this was considered a very normal thing. After all, it belonged to how could the pride of Wuhandian be comparable to that of ordinary academy forces? In a fundamental sense, there is a big bias between the two. The distance is getting closer, and Ji-Fei can see what the opponent's formation is like. They have already waited on the ring, and their faces seem to show that only the winner will have it attitude. Your Excellency, the Vice Hall Master is here. You really made us wait anxiously. Huh. This is the case. Your Excellency, the Vice Hall Master? Why did you invite 8 people? Could it be that you want 8 of them to fight against each other? Are we the 7 people from Jil Soul Master Academy? But this has nothing to do with it. If you can go, then let's all go. A reserved old man with a white beard walked up to him. He stared at Ji-Fei and the others with a strange expression. His words were full of ridicule, and the most obvious thing was that he actually regarded undead Douluo as the Soul Emperor's assistant palace, the people invited by the Lord to participate in the exchange competition. If this is really the case, Ji-Fei would like to wish for it. In that case, they don't even need to make a move. Immortal Douluo's casual release of aura is enough to frighten the group of people, so that they have no desire to fight, and even said that, if you don't restrain yourself, it's not a problem to be scared to death directly. The deputy master of the Soul Emperor was obviously a little flustered, not because of the old man's teasing tone, but he turned around and looked at Undead Douluo respectfully, hoping not to see any anger on Undead Douluo's face otherwise. Several people from the Soul Master Academy would probably die here, and then there would be several more names on the recorded stone tablet. That's right old man. I'm also a member of the exchange competition, so don't panic. Yes, our strength is very poor, so let's say 8 fight against 7 of them. Undead Douluo stared at the old man, slowly said such a sentence. What? Fei stared at Undead Douluo in astonishment. Ziyu was also a little confused. Yan was extremely excited and couldn't help but look at the smiling young people who were discussing something on the ring. It's over. You are completely over. A title Douluo wants to fight with you. Even if you are dead, it is worth it. But this undead teacher really has a free and easy personality, even if he has a title Douluo's cultivation level. He doesn't have that kind of power shelf. But is it really good to not have that kind of airs? Anyway, in the eyes of a few of them, it is really unfriendly to other people. The deputy palace master of the Soul Emperor was a little at a loss and just looked at Undead Douluo with a questioning look. Oh, I'm on the same team as them, right? Immortal Douluo looked at Fei. His eyes obviously wanted Fei to come out and explain. That's right. This is our captain, and we all follow his orders. Fei nodded and replied with certainty. Hahaha, it's okay. 8 of you are 8, and 7 on our side is enough. The old man stroked his beard and smiled happily. That's it? The immature faces of the other party are obviously not even 10 years old, right? What kind of strength can a soul master who is not even 10 years old have? And the captain referred to by the other party looks about the same size as Shuyan, right? Seeing that Dingpotian is at the 18th or 19th level of soul power, isn't this something that can be dealt with casually? This time it can be regarded as a time of elation and elation. Finally, there is no need to be vying for some outstanding students from the Wuhandian anymore. The number of soul masters given by the kingdom this time, Ridiculed Soul Master Academy will say loudly, yes. Undead Douluo turned around and looked at Fei and the others with a subdued smile. Look, plans can never keep pace with changes, so this time let me guide you to fight. Just do whatever you want, even though the opponent is very sucks, but can also hone the collaboration for you guys. Fei said in a low voice. Mr. Undead, are you really going to make a move? Isn't it true that if you make a move, the other party will be scared to death if he is not alive? Fei didn't dare to imagine such a scene anymore. When the opponent's soul ring was released, a madness accompanied by an incomparable aura instantly filled our side, and the entire soul fighting field was completely covered by this terrifying aura, while the opponent only saw us on this side. A young looking soul master with 9 soul rings rose up in an instant, and the conspicuous blood red soul ring instantly dissipated all the invisible aura like ants. That scene was explosive. Let's go to the ring. Undead Douluo went directly to the ring. Fei and Yi Lanshan walked side by side. Ziyu, Hu Lina, and Yan walked side by side behind him. And at the end were Zhu Jiangxing and Huo Rao. With a light look, Fei just glanced at the 7 of them indifferently when he brushed past the other party's Soul Master Academy. The one standing in the center of the other party should be Zhu Shuyan, with a soul power of level 21. His figure is not so tall and mighty, but his proportions are normal, and he has an ordinary face, and his eyes are also looking at him at the same time. When he turned to Fei, he was slightly puzzled, but Fei didn't care about it. There are 2 girls standing on the right side of him, and 4 boys standing on the left side of him. Their complexions still have a trace of youthful immaturity, and they seem to be about 15 or 16 years old. From such a simple look, they all seem to still have such a feeling of weakness, which is strange. After all, they must be full of energy to practice like a soul master, right? Why do they seem to have such a little opposite feeling? This is very confusing. Fei really wanted to ask, is the food at your Soul Master Academy not good? End of this chapter. Chapter 121 Greedy Domain. I, Zhang Yi, am the referee for this exchange match. Since both sides are extraordinary soul fighters, the rules need to be changed appropriately. Standing in the middle of the arena was the referee of Jules Soul Arena, a middle-aged man whose own soul power had reached the level of a 5-ring Soul King. At this moment, on both sides of the arena stood 7 Soul Masters from Jia Soul Master Academy. On the other side were 8 people including Fei, and the leader was Undead Douluo. Undead Douluo yawned, with tears streaming out of his blood-colored eyes. It can be seen that he doesn't care about fighting and the like. His main purpose is to let Fei and others practice the cooperation between Soul Masters. There is also what needs to be prepared for ordinary battles with other Soul Masters. Don't ignore them because of their low level of soul power. You have high soul power, but they are better at cooperating with other Soul Masters than you. Today, the course I am teaching you is actual combat contingency skills. After a while, the second old man will deprive you of part of your soul power and let you fight against them. Don't say that you can't beat them. If the old man says you can beat them, then you can beat them. Also, you can't use the second soul skill in Lanshan. Fei, you can't use the first soul skill. After all, your corresponding soul skills are too perverted. Fei nodded. This is the only way to be challenging. If it's simply crushing, then what's the fun of Soul Master fighting? There is simply no such thing. It takes a lion to fight a rabbit with all our strength, so we also need to do our best in the battle with Jia Soul Master Academy. Fei looked back at Ziyu and the others. He could clearly see that Ziyu disdained the guys from Jia Soul Master Academy. To them, it was just a few guys with low-level soul power. Even if they didn't improve their soul power before, they could completely solve it, and there was no need to spend so much trouble. Does it take full strength for a lion to fight a rabbit? Immortal Douluo glanced at Fei meaningfully. He could see the fighting spirit in Fei's body, which surpassed the obsession of Soul Masters of the same age for fighting. The different battle rules explained by Zhang Huan are also very simple. That is, no one can be killed. A device driven by soul power. No matter what it looks like, they are protecting Fei and others. After all, in Zhang Huan's eyes, Fei and others are really too young, right? Even if the headed man with red eyes is older, he only looks 20 years old, right? How much higher can the soul power be? The overall gap in the team battle was fully revealed. But this is also an impossible way. So are both sides ready now? Zhang Huan looked to both sides. Zhu Shuiwen forced a smile. Ready. Immortal Douluo shook his hand, then turned around and walked straight to the back. I'll leave Fei to you. I'll go to the back. What? Fei pointed out that he was a bit at a loss. Didn't he just say that he wanted to teach us fighting skills by himself? Why did you just retreat to the back now? What does this mean? Yi Lanshan's voice sounded in Fei's mind. Mr. Immortal needs to release his greedy domain and can't use it at the forefront. Otherwise, the opponent's strength will be suppressed. No matter how much Teacher Undying restricts himself, the release of the field also has a scope. The domain of greed? The domain of the undead teacher? What kind of power is that? Fei suddenly became interested in time. Undead Douluo's sudden action could not help but arouse the disdain of others, and the old man of Jia Soul Master Academy laughed with satisfaction. Just say, no matter how much you give, you, a Soul Master, are definitely no match for our Jia Soul Master Academy anymore. Times have changed. The branch hall of Jia City of Wuhan Hall. The undead Douluo's greedy domain is to deprive everything in scope, including the spirit power of the spirit ring and even everything, and the level of deprivation is also perfected according to undead Douluo's own ideas. Unlike the endowment of the lazy domain, the greedy domain is naked deprivation. Even if it is flesh and blood, he can completely deprive it. Therefore, Teacher Undead wants to use the greedy domain to suppress our soul power and even soul rings. To say the most powerful point, then it is said that the existence deprived by the field of greed can be fed back to the undead teacher. For example, Wuhan, as long as it is in this field, can be manifested by the undead teacher, but it also has a specific level and cannot be used by the undead teacher. Copy, you must have guessed it, right? God level martial soul? Yi Lanshan's voice continued. That's right, it's a god level martial soul. A god level martial soul is different from ordinary martial souls. It has already come into contact with another level of existence, like the previous evil god Douluo. Yes, their martial spirits are all god level martial spirits. The same is true for the immortal seat of the immortal teacher. It can only be said that, as long as they are gathered in their era, these soul masters can be killed, even if they are true gods never killed. Huh. So it's so powerful. But Lanshan, if I'm not mistaken, your martial soul should also be a god level martial soul, right? Fei couldn't believe it. If it wasn't for the 20th level soul power innately endowed by the god level martial soul, who can reach level at such an age? Well, that's right. My divine tree of life is also a god level martial spirit, and it has its own domain when it is cultivated to the extreme, and you are the same. Of course, it is the prerequisite for you to cultivate the second martial spirit, so you can understand now. Why did the evil god Douluo and the undead teacher teach the methods used in your domain? Fei already knew about it with a high probability. Then is it true that once a god level martial soul has been cultivated to a certain level, it will have its own special domain? Yi Lanshan replied, it depends on the person, but what I see basically has its own specific domain, rather than being inherited by others, and the cultivation methods of the domain are also different. Let me tell you, it is possible that the next teacher immortal will personally lead you to steal gold soul coins for a while. Is Wu Hundian ready? Zhang Huan asked again. Undead Douluo, who was standing at the front, retreated to the back, so he could only ask Fei, who was in second place. Fei regained his senses and looked at Ziyu and the others. It seemed that he was also inspired by Fei's words. Even if he was a lion facing a hare, he still needed to use his full strength. We are ready. End of this chapter. Chapter 122. The first soul skill. It's the first time that 7 of us have worked together in a real sense, just like when I joined forces with Giant Crossing and Huo Rao in the previous entrance exam. At that time, I used the characteristics of my martial soul to deceive after covering all the visible field of vision, and then relying on the fast speed of Huo Rao's sensitive attack system and the strong attack power of Jiangxing's strong attack system, we can win completely. Of course, in the end, Hu Lina's charming soul ability really made me win. I didn't expect it, but do you know why you suddenly didn't have any soul power in the end? Fei regretted that he didn't share with them the characteristics of his martial spirit and soul skills before. It's just a temporary cramming, but it should be useful. After all, it won't take long to understand the general effects of martial arts and soul skills time. Why? I have always been puzzled. Obviously I have activated my soul skills at the last moment, and the 4th brother and 5th sister will definitely control me in the next moment, but the sudden release of the martial soul there will be no continuous blessing of soul power, so the soul skill cannot be successfully released. Hulina is still puzzled when recalling the previous battle, but she didn't ask Fei before. After all, this is more or less related to the secret of everyone's martial soul, and it's not good to delve too deeply, because I devoured all your soul power with the help of the dead wood vines that bind you. Fei smiled lightly. My Izanami martial soul has the nature of imitating a martial soul. The ability of the previous soul ring will also be changed differently depending on the soul. I simulated a very special blue silver grass, and its first skill is to devour soul power. Of course, this requires you to be restrained first. Stop, otherwise it will not be activated, and it is even less likely to succeed. It's so amazing. Doesn't that mean that you can completely suppress the opponent with only you alone? My flaming fist is ready. As long as they are controlled, I will rush up and punch each of them. Yan raised his huge fist. Just looking at this fist, even if he was punched solidly without additional soul power, it would be uncomfortable. It would be great if it was that simple. Didn't Teacher Undead say before that he would suppress soul power and soul skills? Obviously, my first soul skill is impossible to use. As you all know, my first soul skill is the soul skill of the year before last, but the second soul skill is only 100 years old. It is called Nightmare, and it creates a black mist that can be shrouded in it. The soul masters in it slow down their speed, attack, and defense. The problem is very tasteless. Fei's second soul ability comes from the centipede, a 100-year-old soul ring. The centipede possesses paralyzing poison, which is what gives Izanami the characteristic of adding poison to the harmless black mist. And this black mist shrouds it to reduce all the characteristics of the opponent in an all-round way. Food ribs. Ziyu's complexion was more or less weird. If you are chicken ribs, my first soul skill Banyusan is rubbish. Anyway, my plan is like this. Fei told them his battle plan in a very brief narration. This method was the best method Fei could think of that could complete the battle quickly without causing any large-scale damage to the opponent. Immortal Douluo stood at the back of the team, looking at Fei, who was discussing in a low voice. He also smiled gratifiedly. That kind of smile seemed to find the backbone of the past, and it was this backbone that could lead them, carrying all the inequalities in this world called Douluo Continent. Is this good? Isn't it a bit too invincible? And will they be unconvinced? Ziyu was a little surprised after hearing Fei's battle plan. She didn't expect Fei to come up with such a weird way of fighting, but he likes it. What does it matter? If I really want to, I want to crush them directly. Fei looked helplessly at Undead Douluo, who was smiling lightly. If Teacher Undead said that we need to reduce our soul power, and if the soul skills are aggressive, who is willing to stand with them on the soul fighting platform to make a battle plan? For the glory of Jill Soul Master Academy, destroy these children. Jill Soul Master Academy encouraged himself with an extremely exaggerated way of clapping hands and cheering. Zhu Shuyan, the leader, waited quietly. He was not in a hurry. After all, he had the power to crush them. Although he couldn't hear the exact battle plan, he could tell that the opponent might be a cobbled up baby team, and there was no coordination at all, let alone release martial spirits to fight together. It is the luckiest thing that there is no conflict between the soul abilities of the 8 people. The opponent has a Linoop lined up, the leader is a man who looks sick, and Zhu Shuyan is standing in the second line. Next to him is a woman in a strong suit, and then there are 3 weak men who extend from the 2 sides. The man seemed to be protecting the last petite girl. Is this the phalanx for soul masters to fight? Fei smiled slightly. This kind of phalanx is only suitable for the stance taken in evenly matched battles. If they use this stance, they will be at a loss. Come on, the other side is already cheering up. Why don't we use martial soul? Brother Ziyu, I'm in charge of the battle, then you will be the aura of the team. Fei looked at Ziyu. Ziyu's arrogance is very good, something enough to use such an arrogance to crush the self-confidence of the other side. Hahaha, good. The 6th brother is right. Come on. Let the little shrimps on the opposite side see what is called a martial soul. Lined up. Zhu Shuyan couldn't believe how the other party was overbearing. Or did the other party not know that the battle between the Soul Master teams needed to be dispersed, and among the 7 opponents, there must be at least 1 auxiliary Soul Master, right? Could it be the man behind that? Is he a Soul Master of the auxiliary department? Sure. So what is the reason for this arrangement? Haha, so it was for the collective protection of an auxiliary system Soul Master? Then this invisibly shows that, as long as this auxiliary system Soul Master is solved, then everything will be solved. Zhu Shuyan turned around and muttered a few words to the petite woman behind him, then shouted loudly, Wuhan, now. One after another scattered soul power exploded on the spot, and the powerful force was continuously absorbed, and each wave was more powerful than the last wave. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123 Attack. The surging soul power on both sides of the fighting spirit platform was continuously released, and the released martial soul was released by the 7 soul masters of Jia Soul Master Academy on one side, and on the other hand, Fei and other 7 people also released the martial soul in an instant. Undead Douluo released his own martial soul, and an inexplicable breath was continuously released from Undead Douluo. It could be seen that perhaps his greed domain had been released. 2 soul rings, 1 purple and 1 yellow, flashed on Fei's body. Yi Lanshan beside him, 1 yellow and 1 purple, and the rest of Ziyu, Yan, Hu Lina, Zhu Jiangxing, Hu Orao and others also released century level soul rings. Fei himself could feel that a restrained soul power was gradually released from his body. This restrained soul power was very special, as if it blocked the operation of his own soul power, and seemed to be blocked by something like. Is this the soul power that is indirectly suppressed? It really is special. But in the field of vision of the other group of Soul Masters from Jill Soul Master Academy, including the rest of the Soul Masters, Fei and the others could only see yellow 100-year-old soul rings floating on their bodies. But just like this, Zushuiwan and the others were surprised. The configuration of their soul rings at Jill Soul Master Academy was very poor. All of them were white, and even his own soul rings were white and yellow, but Zukin was different. The only one in their team is an auxiliary soul master. Her first soul ring is at the century level. Soul power represents the level of soul masters, and also represents the strength of combat power. But when the gap in soul power is not very large, the age of the soul ring becomes the gap in the battle between soul masters, and such a gap is still large. It is clear. A century-old soul ring has the power to overwhelm a 10-year soul ring. Don't mess yourself up. Although the opponent's spirit ring configuration is good, they are just a group of spirit masters. Don't forget, I'm a level 21 strong attack system great spirit master. Zushuiwan comforted his teammates. After all, it was unacceptable to see such a matching spirit ring appearing on a group of children who were so much younger than him. However, this may be why so many soul masters hope that they can enter the world. The reason for studying at Wuhandian Academy. After all, once you enter Wuhandian Academy, they can find you a soul ring that perfectly fits your age. So you don't need soul masters like them, who use the minimum age, and don't use it. Then it fits his own soul ring. He has the beast martial soul of the assault department, the martial soul with extraordinary intelligence. He can detect the opponent's flaws at a very fast speed during the battle, and then attack the opponent with extreme speed and decent attacks. Complete the attack rate before acting. This is very scary, and his embarrassing martial soul also has the characteristics of seeking advantages and avoiding disadvantages. He can probably have such a guess about dangerous things. If his life is really in danger, then when he releases the martial soul it will appear very low, but now his embarrassing martial soul is possessed, just like before, which proves with a high probability that there should be no danger. Sixth brother and seventh sister, aren't you surprised to see you two millenniums facing each other? How come they still seem to be full of fighting spirit? Ziyu was very puzzled. For the battle between soul masters, if most soul masters saw such a gap, they would definitely choose to admit defeat immediately, right? After all, they have two great soul masters on their side, and the soul ring configuration subverts everyone's imagination. 1000 years, 100 years. 100 years, 1000 years. Brother, haven't you felt the meaning of teacher undead? Haven't you felt that your soul power has been suppressed a lot? I judge that undead Douluo must have used a large-scale illusion to deceive what this group of people saw. Things. Hulina looked at Ziyu and said helplessly. Ziyu was surprised and couldn't help turning her head to look at the undead Douluo who closed her eyes. It seems to be the same thing. So what kind of state should we present in the opposite site to make us feel better? Why do they have such a frivolous fighting spirit? Could it be that they were organized by several 10-year spirit rings? Isn't it? Fei said, it should be a century-old soul ring for all members. After all, the other party's soul rings are only 10-year soul rings. Only the girl at the back of them, and their captain Zushuiwan's second soul ring is a 100-year level soul ring. The referee standing in the middle of the arena also took a look at the formations of both sides, seeing that both sides had released their martial souls, and they were ready to go. But he took a strange look at the immortal Douluo behind Fei's team. Immortal Douluo just stood there, with his hands on his back, his eyes closed and motionless, as if the next big battle had nothing to do with him at all. But it won't help if they have already said that they are ready to remind themselves, right? As a result, the referee stepped aside and seriously prepared to observe the next battle point. The first soul rings of all members of one party have reached the 100-year level, and they are indeed worthy of being the soul masters of the Wuhan temple, with such terrifying talents and resources. What kind of attack method will they choose? Zushuiwan stared closely at the opponent's Linoop, but his main attention was focused on the closed-eyed guy who was about his age at the end. What do soul masters most need to protect when they are fighting? This is self-evident. Zhu Shuyan subconsciously turned his head to look at Zukin, who summoned the martial spirit at the end. It must be an auxiliary soul master in battle. The attribute gain given by the auxiliary system soul master can be said to be beneficial to every soul master in the team, and this kind of gain is definitely the most beneficial point when the two teams are fighting, as long as they have a powerful auxiliary system. Soul masters can be regarded as suppressing the opponent to a certain extent. Zukin, come to buff. Yulin, USEN, you two protect Zukin, and I will attack the target. The auxiliary soul master protected by the opponent's back row. The others are stable and temporarily stabilize the formation. Zhu Shuyan already has a general goal, that is to use his great soul master's power to defeat the auxiliary system soul masters in the local area first, so that he can definitely deal a fatal blow to the opponent, and with his embarrassing martial soul, he can definitely get out of the way. The martial soul who can best judge the situation, is it not a sharp spear when facing such lineup protective Linup? N. After Zhu Shuyan's voice fell, the Zukin who was at the back nodded, and then, with one hand, she summoned, and the surging soul power was constantly gathering, and slowly built a shape on her body, a piano. End of this chapter. Chapter 124. Admirable courage. The melodious sound of the piano floated out in an instant. The tune was mellow, accompanied by a series of outlines of soul power, and then covered every soul master in Jia Soul Master Academy, and this moment made their respective soul power. It's a very special change, as if it's getting stronger. The light yellow soul ring of Zukin itself shone brightly. She gently stroked the floating strings with one hand, slightly fluctuating the first string, and her soul power mellowed, and the speed of the song seemed to increase a lot. 1 Lyokin, the first soul skill, the increase in soul power. Zukin snorted lightly, then plucked the piano in her hand fiercely with her fingertips, and the special aura attached to each of them seemed to strengthen again a lot. The soul skills of the auxiliary soul masters were activated, and everyone on Jifei's side looked at Ji Lanshan. They could clearly feel that the opponent's strength seemed to have increased a lot. Maybe it was just pure momentum. However, the strong aura of the great soul master Zhu Shuyan, who is the leader, has increased a lot in such an instant. Yi Lanshan smiled slightly. My first soul skill is very special. It can be boosted regardless of the level of your soul power. That is to say, your current soul power is level. Once you accept my boost, you can reach level. As for the above, how much the increase depends on myself. Level increase? What kind of soul skill is this? Not only Jifei but everyone else was surprised. Level increase, and it's good to be able to increase the level beyond the shackles of the soul ring. The most important thing is to increase the level regardless of the level of the soul power. Doesn't that mean that, as long as Yi Lanshan is willing to increase a title Douluo, it is completely possible? Before the others could fully react from their astonishment, a light green halo suddenly surged around Yi Lanshan's body, and with a gust of wind blowing, patches of special the leaves seemed to be maintained in the form of soul power. Yi Lanshan waved her jade hand, and then the gathered and fluttering leaves fell on Jifei and the others in an instant. The most important thing was that they could only seeing that the yellow soul ring behind Yi Lanshan was fine, but she didn't see the existence of her martial soul, the so-called tree of life. Jifei only felt a different kind of vast soul power that did not belong to him run through his body. Jifei couldn't help but feel that this seemed to contradict what undead Douluo said. After all, undying Douluo originally wanted to the most important thing is to suppress their soul power to fight with them, but now that Yi Lanshan's first soul skill directly increases the level of soul power, wouldn't that just offset part of undead Douluo's domain power on the one hand? Don't worry, Teacher Undead said that I'm not allowed to use the second soul ability, so it means that I can use the first soul ability. After all, I'm also an auxiliary soul master. If I'm not allowed to use the first soul ability, then what's the point of fighting? If possible, I would like to use the second soul ability. In that case, you alone can solve them. No, it should be anyone's increase in my second soul ability. You can beat the opponent completely, of course. Anyone here refers to the 7 of us. Yi Lanshan's voice rang again in Jifei's mind, and Jifei nodded. To him, these were just a special boost in battle, and what he really needed to use was his own weapons. The power of the soul. After all, I have to start using my own soul skills. The momentum has increased a lot. Zhu Xuan, who was about to sprint over at the beginning, saw the light green leaves attached to Ji-Fei and the others, and at the same time, felt the unusual soul power surging in Ji-Fei and the others. Feeling moved, thinking secretly in my heart, could it be that this is also to enhance the momentum? The power of the first soul skill of Zukin's Wan Liukin Wuhan is the amplified aura. The so-called amplified aura is to trigger a random increase in 3 aspects at a certain level. It can be speed, strength, or defense. Of course, the duration of the 3 aspects of the increase is only 1 minute. Zhu Xuan was very excited when he felt the power continuously gathered from his claws. This time, the increase in momentum he obtained was transformed into an increase in strength. His current strength had at least doubled, which undoubtedly made him a little excited, but the aura of the opponent's sudden attack made him a little hesitant, whether he really wanted to rush through the opponent's lined up formation, and go straight to the Soul Master behind the opponent who seemed to be an auxiliary system. It's not quite right. The source of the increase just now seems to be that girl. Although I didn't see what her martial spirit is, her spirit ring definitely lit up just now. Time passed by every minute and every second, and Zhu Xuan, who only had 1 minute of boost time, needed to make his own choice as soon as possible. Otherwise, he would not be able to release the boost effect again in a short period of time. After all, no matter how you say it, Zukin is just a soul master. Come on. If you don't do anything, you already have such a thought that you are already on the verge of death. Even if you choose to give up and use another plan now, it will not help. In an instant, Zhang Lei's arms turned into thick hands of soul power, and the blood-red soul power gathered on those claws. The power conveyed by the solid arms was enough to defeat everything in Zhu Xuan's eyes. Then, in the blink of an eye, Zhu Xuan sprinted over directly. The sharp speed seemed to be an existence that had been honed for a long time, and he reached the center of the ring in just a blink of an eye. The target he chose was very important. Simple, it is to break through Ji-Fei in the middle and directly defeat the opponent with 1 enemy in 2, and first create a huge advantage for his team. After all, the opponent's soul ring configuration is so many times better than his. The Soul Master Wuhan, who was originally standing in the front, was a long stick. He waved the stick in his hand and landed on the ground violently. Suddenly, the whole fighting spirit stage shook several times, and then it is also a sprint up, which is also one of Zhu Xuan's plans. As long as there are other people protecting the auxiliary system Soul Masters, then the 2 of them can play the characteristics of the double attack system and give the opponent such a weak Linoop fatal attack hit. This long stick Wuhan is very special, with 1 stick sticking out. It has an extremely fast speed, which makes people think of Zukin's boost. Obviously, the transformation boost obtained by the Soul Master of this long stick Wuhan is speed, a 1 minute speed increase, coupled with the extremely destructive power of his long stick Wuhan, is like a tiger with wings. End of this chapter. Chapter 125, Deep in the Fog and Nightmare. Zhu Xuan's embarrassing martial soul has a very fast speed in battle, and has a certain special ability to predict danger. This is slowly revealed in the fighting soul in front of him. His whole body is covered with a layer of fur-like things are covered, and the very sharp minions are covered with a layer of soul power. Maybe his sharp claws weren't that powerful before, but now it's different. Although Wan Liukin's soul skill boost with Zukin can only last for 1 minute, in his opinion, a great soul master can solve a group of soul masters. 1 minute is enough. While sprinting extremely fast, a white soul ring flickered on his body and the soul power poured into his claws, and the original white soul power instantly increased, and with the breath of waves, he directly moved towards Ji-Fei sprinted over here. Originally, Zhu Xuan, who was similar to the agility attack system, suddenly obtained the power similar to that of the attack system Soul Master, which has to be said to be very terrifying. And following him at the same time was the Soul Master of the long stick martial soul, and the white soul ring on his body also shone at that moment. The ground suddenly cracked, and an abrupt stone platform suddenly appeared on the fighting spirit platform surrounding Ji-Fei. It appeared out of thin air like a perfect springboard, giving Zhu Xuan a powerful attack force of falling from a high altitude. As expected, at the next moment, Zhu Shuiwen landed directly on the stone platform, and then a powerful force was born out of thin air under his feet, and he flew into the air, looking down at Ji-Fei and the others below, as if his gaze had been fixed from the very beginning. It should be the undead Douluo behind Ji-Fei. After all, being able to be protected by a group of soul masters like them would definitely be very important, and it would definitely not be very strong. If they were strong, how could they be protected by a group of soul masters? That's not all. The soul master of the long stick martial spirit below suddenly rushed up again, holding a stick about 1.5 meters long in his hand. He poked out directly. His speed was completely indistinguishable from that of ordinary agility attack system soul masters. Regarding the cooperation between soul masters, several people from Jil Soul Master Academy are in constant contact in order to win glory for the academy by defeating the Hall of Spirit Masters, so they have a deep understanding of their respective soul masters and abilities. Yes, although it can't be said that the battle has reached the point of proficiency, it is definitely not the kind of existence that is limited to small fights. According to the blessing of the 3 different attributes of Zukin Wan Liuk and Wuhan, they will change their tactics as soon as possible. If the familiarity Zukin attached to them just now is not speed and powerful attack, their tactics will definitely change as soon as possible. Yes, just like the opposite side, their main protection is also Zukin. After all, only with the blessing of Zukin, their strength, speed and defense are powerful. But why didn't Ji-Fei notice this after watching it for so long? Do you want to defeat us with the fastest speed and the force generated by the fall? It's not that simple. In an instant, Izanami's martial soul was revealed under the control of the Villain Chaos, and the dark yellow second soul ring was activated in an instant, and suddenly, a cloud of black mist covering the entire ring was completely moving towards the opponent. Completely covering the past, Ji-Fei's Izanami martial soul's second soul skill Nightmare is officially activated. The black mist with the control attribute can reduce the speed, strength and defense of the soul master. The effect of this is to greatly reduce the blessing of the so-called auxiliary soul masters. It can even be said that Ji-Fei's second soul skill it is to restrain the soul skills of attribute enhancing soul masters, and it is strictly restrained. Brother Yu, Brother Yan, the 2 of you can prepare to attack. Sister Na is ready to charm. If the 2 of them break through the black mist with the help of attribute enhancement and directly activate the charm, as long as these 2 powerful soul masters are gone, aren't the remaining 5 of the other party good-looking babies? Brother Zhu, you and Sister Huo Rao are ready to attack the remaining few people on the other side. The speed of Sister Huo Rao plus the level increase of the decline can reach more than 20 the speed that a super agility attack system soul master should possess. Seeing that Ji-Fei's distribution is so clear, Ziyu also nodded. It seems that Teacher Undead made Ji-Fei the leader of the team is a very correct choice. Just like what Ji-Fei said to them before, a lion needs all his strength to fight a rabbit. But when facing the soul masters of Jia Soul Master Academy who are inferior to them, Ji-Fei will come up with such a way to deal with it, which is enough to see that Ji-Fei has always been very serious about fighting souls. It's a fight, it's not a child's play. What's going on? Why does the speed, strength, and soul power all feel weakened so much? And the sight. The speed of the fall was very fast, but Zhu Shuiwen was taken aback by the fog that suddenly enveloped him. He felt that it should be a poisonous fog, and now he judged that his thoughts should be correct. My own speed has actually slowed down so much, even the speed of my fall seems to be blocked by an invisible force, and even the destructive soul power gathered on my hands has been weakened so much. No, there is also my own soul power. How is it possible? I feel that my soul power is continuously being lost. For more than 10 seconds, Zhu Shuiwen was still floating in the sky. The height he just jumped up was at most 10 meters, right? No matter how bad it is, even if it is more than 20 meters, how can it still not land on the ground? The gathered black mist was very dense, and he could only vaguely see the black mist emanating from his hands. He tried hard to remember if he subconsciously changed his route when the black mist was released just now. There is absolutely no memory. The special embarrassing eyes turned slightly, and he began to look around. Although he was still falling, and the speed was extremely fast, He was absolutely sure that he was still floating above the sky and his soul power was still being lost. Under such circumstances, if you can use a level of soul power to distinguish your current situation, then you may describe it like this. Originally I had a soul power of level 21, which belonged to the level of a great soul master, but now I seem to only have a soul power of level 4, and my attack power has also been reduced a lot, as well as my speed. I can't tell, my beast spirit doesn't have that much defensive power, and I'm better at analyzing and making detailed judgments about the battle in front of me, but in this situation, what can I do? End of this chapter. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.